This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove, where Jerry Bilden comes to work and gets his kicks.
As high as I can get that kick is right here. Yes.
Maybe I should remove, it's not plural. He gets his kick. And it's with his left foot.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Tuesday. The week is off and rolling. A lot in the news. Man, there is a ton going on. By the time I went to bed last night looking at, what was last night's news and what's this morning's news.
Yeah.
Boy, there's a lot going on. We'll do our best to bring it all up to you. The only thing I can say is the fires around the country, in Canada, in our own backyard, are beyond horrible. And it's just, what do you do other than we got to be vigilant here and stay calm and be very, very aware of how dry everything is, And if you see somebody out mowing dry grass, go out and get a big bucket of water and throw it on them.
Subject came up in my neighborhood, my neck of the woods, I should say, because I don't really live in a neighborhood. But I was taking some wood delivery, and the delivery guy noticed that somebody down the hill from me was doing that. And
well,
you have really fired him up.
First of all, you should confiscate their mower.
Yeah.
Secondly, throw a big bucket of water in their face.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. Anyway, got a lot going on. We'll get all that to you. What do you got today? Anything
well, first of all, it is National Sons and Daughters Day.
All right.
Bringing parents and their kids together for quality time. And if
you ran them out. Give them away.
And it's
change their last name.
Oh, that's funny. It's interesting, raising sons and daughters because, we try to raise our kids the same way, and it's interesting how they don't always turn out the same way.
They're humans.
They're humans.
I don't think you recognize that your kids are humans until, I don't know, probably until they're 13, then you realize they're humans.
I have a wonderful daughter, and Pam was really laughing because last year when we went to Tahoe, it was there was a debate about what I was going to do going forward with my failed surgery. I had all these broken screws and hardware and stuff, and Jenna decided she was going to weigh in on it.
Oh.
And I couldn't go skiing, and so I'm sitting in the condo, and I'm on the phone with Jenna, and Pam and everybody heads down to the lift. They take, they're going down skiing, and they get down there and everything. Pam realizes she left something back up at the condo, so she heads back up, and she said, "It's been like 15 minutes. I get back up there, and Jenna's still on the phone with you, and you're not talking." It's all Jenna. It's a one-sided conversation. And she had some definite ideas about which course of action I should be going on.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, she was right.
Well, Jenna.
She was. Yeah. And she's very, she was a real compliant, very sweet child. But she's definitely got an opinion.
Well, listen.
Oh, my goodness.
It's called self-defense.
Moving on. Enjoy your sons and daughters. Maybe that was too much. Anyway, National Presidential Joke Day. And it seems like, that day can take place any day.
Yeah.
And I think the bottom line is it's intended to make people laugh but not cause conflict. Remember to be kind with your jokes and spread happiness if that's possible.
Try it.
Yeah.
I think we ought to have, instead of let's have fun day, let's have a fun month.
Yeah.
If we can make everybody happy.
Yeah, and remember those press corps dinners that they would have and stuff? Remember we had another assassination attempt at the last one? Isn't that usually what those were intended for? And kind of lighthearted, they poke fun at the president and others, in the room.
Yeah.
And there was a day and age when people could do that. Remember the days of, Johnny Carson and Don Rickles and Foster Brooks and those kind of guys? They did that.
Yeah.
Dean Martin, Anyway.
So much for that.
Let's play in the sand. It's National Play in the Sand Day, reminding people to get outside, enjoy the sunshine, and create some fun in the sand. And, you think of making sand castles and such. I think of cleaning out, whatever garments you're wearing when you're in the sand, because it gets in everything. You've had that experience when you had a broken limb.
I did.
Yeah.
I was a kid, and I broke my leg, and unlike yours, and they put cast on in those days.
Yeah, right.
And I had a full-length cast.
Okay.
And my dad decided he was taking the family to Santa Cruz for a couple of days. And they hauled me down. They picked me up and hauled me down to the beach and set me on this blanket thing. Well, I got sand down in that cast, and I was miserable. And they ended up in the ER cutting the cast off.
No kidding. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know. Why am I laughing?
Were you a bully in the sandbox
Was that no?
when you were a kid?
No, absolutely not. No.
Hey, Mom, was he a bully in the sandbox when you were a kid?
No. And here's a twist on playing the sand. It is, check this out, Global Kinetic Sand Day. Look at this stuff.
Oh.
It's a day to share the magic of the squeezable sand that never dries out. Originally developed to make sand play less of a mess by mixing sand with beeswax. Kinetic sand has been further developed to the squeezable sand everyone knows and loves today. So squish, mix, slice, and mold kinetic sand into any shape you want. The creative possibilities are endless. Look, check that out.
Is that the new, what was it one we had? The something dough?
Oh,
Play-Doh.
Yeah, it looks like Play-Doh, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so anyway, however you mix it, that is kinetic sand.
Okay.
And we were talking, Scott was saying that he said not to be confused with kinetic war. He was
Well,
just kinetic
that's
war.
where I went. When you used the word kinetic, I go, where's this going? Yeah.
So anyway, it is, which is, the explosive kind of war. So we don't want explosive sand. There is something to eat today. It's called Raspberry Bomb Day. I don't know if we have any pictures of it. Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Ooh. It's an interesting twist. I'm trying to, get the recipe. National Raspberry Bomb Day, and it consists of sherbet, heavy cream, sugar, chopped nuts, candied fruit, and a dash of rum.
Oh.
The dessert is layered using a spherical mold and frozen overnight with raspberries as the main ingredient. The result creates a terrific centerpiece, and of course, highlighting raspberries again, because we are at the peak season of raspberries.
There you go.
So, kinetic. It's a kinetic dessert.
Okay.
Raspberry bomb.
Wow.
Thanks, Scott.
Good stuff. All right. 7 minutes past the hour. Let's get a kinetic weather forecast.
Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with a high near 82 in Vancouver. Portland reaches 83, while Wilsonville and McMinnville warm into the mid-80s this afternoon. Through the Willamette Valley, mostly sunny conditions continue with Salem reaching 86. Albany and Corvallis both top out near 82, while Eugene also warms to 86 with a bright and warm afternoon across the valley. Sunshine holds in central Oregon with Bend and Sun River both reaching the upper 80s. Prineville climbs to 89 with patchy smoke, while Boise starts sunny before patchy smoke develops with highs near 96. Along the Oregon coast, mostly sunny skies bring a high of 72 in Coos Bay, while Port Orford stays mostly sunny near 68. Brookings becomes sunny near 60, and Crescent City is mostly sunny, windy, and near 67. Across southern Oregon, sunny skies continue for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland, with afternoon highs from 90 to 95. Klamath Falls reaches 91 with areas of smoke, and a warm, dry afternoon. Sunny and hot in Northern California with patchy smoke around Wairika and highs near 95. Redding reaches 100. Chico climbs to 97, while Fort Bragg starts with patchy fog before turning sunny. Around the Bay Area, fog gives way to sunny skies and 82 in Santa Rosa. Napa becomes sunny with a high near 79. San Francisco stays mostly sunny near 73. And San Jose starts sunny near 86. A coastal flood advisory remains in effect. For Central California, sunny and hot conditions continue with Sacramento near 94 and 95 in Stockton, Modesto. Fresno, Visalia reach 105, and Bakersfield 104 under an extreme heat warning. And that's a look at your Tuesday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, now there's a new look. That's from the top of Mount Antelope in Wairika, California, looking towards Mount Shasta.
Yeah, that's quite a sight.
That's quite a sight.
Yeah.
So that's a new one. And then I think we have the Bay Bridge. Do we have oh, no, we have Elk Grove, clear down in Central Valley, which is another shot that we have, which is kind of interesting down there because every time I see the Elk Grove shot, it reminds me of years of...
It takes you back, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I used to see that a lot. We'll show you that next hour. All right. What's up?
All right. Well, how willing to take a risk are you on this Tuesday? Well, here with some encouragement is Dr. Anthony George.
He was born and proudly named Bartimaeus, but at some point he lost his sight in life, and now he's got a qualifier that's a part of his very name. He's not just Bartimaeus, he's blind Bartimaeus. But there came a day in his life, an appointment with destiny, when Jesus of Nazareth was coming down the road, and Bartimaeus had a choice to make. Will I dare trusting God and calling on the name of Jesus? Or am I content to just be confined by these limitations, to accept my standing in my place that others have imposed upon me? And you know what Bartimaeus said? I'm going to dare, I'm going to risk, I'm going to step out and call the name of Jesus and see what Jesus might be able to do for me. I can't help but think there's someone listening to me preach right now, and you've either come to that place in life where you're just either going to be content to ride it out and accept your fate, que sera, sera, or you're going to be willing enough and daring enough to call on the name of Jesus to make a difference in your life. Some of us are here today because we came to that crossroads and we dared to call on the name of Jesus. And we know He's the reason we're here today. He's the reason we're standing, breathing, living, walking around. Jesus is the reason.
With a lot of enthusiasm.
Yeah, he's starting to stretch the bounds of being a Baptist.
Yeah. Oh, I like it. Yeah.
He's getting out on the nervous edge. I would imagine some of his colleagues are going, now, Anthony, you're kind of over in the big C camp.
They may be the ones who are nervous.
Yeah. You're over in the C camp. You want somebody to stay more in the B camp. Baptist and charismatic.
That's great. I really like him.
All right, good stuff. All right, good morning to you. We got a ton of news. Let's get into it this morning. And boy, do we have a lot. It looks like the president is basically saying to Iran, we're going to reject your 6-point ultimatum. Here we are again, this game back and forth. That Iran gave a 6-point ultimatum plan to the president. He basically said, have a nice day. He rejected the plan, sweeping demands to fully open the Straits of Hormuz, turning to Iran. And remember, they wanted reparation.
Yes.
They were demanding reparation.
Right.
So the president turned it on them and said, why don't you do reparation to all the families of the people that you killed?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so he really turned it on their head. So what can I say? Here we are, waiting again for some kind of a decision. The big story also was a huge earthquake in Colombia over the last 24 hours. 7.4 rocked Colombia. Buildings toppling on people. This is amazing. It struck western Colombia, killing about 111 people and damaging hundreds of buildings. The president declared an emergency, which is to expedite some funding for recovery. The epicenter was in a place called San Jose del Palmar, which is a municipality of about 250 miles west of Colombia capital, Bogota. So in the meantime, 7.4, this is a biggie. This is kind of like in the vein, the ones that hit Venezuela. And anyway, one of the mayors of a little town, this is what he had to say about what happened yesterday.
I have requested support from the mayor of Bogota and the mayor of Medellin with rescue workers. I ask citizens to remain calm. Also check if your buildings have apparent structural damage. If you don't feel safe, if you see very large cracks, please exit the building.
Well, look, this is unbelievable. When you look at the images and the videos of buildings literally just collapsing, and then of course you always have these big earthquakes. You have aftershocks, and so who knows?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you got to remember up in Venezuela when it happened, they had two right after, two of them in the 7. No, they were in the 6 and 7 range. They were like 2 minutes apart.
Yeah.
So anyway, thoughts and prayers there. I'm going to rest assured that the humanitarian groups will be rushing to help them there. But that happened yesterday. It's an amazing thing. A little bit of a, how can I say this? This is, got to get my story straight. Yeah, I did. Okay. This is interesting. Hillary Clinton. Remember her?
Yeah. Yes.
She's an interesting person.
Yeah.
She basically said that with the meltdown inside the Democratic Party and now leaning radically towards socialism and communism and all that stuff that's very much in the news.
Yeah.
She basically is saying Republicans' anti-communist message will be very effective attack going into midterms.
Yeah.
Now, why is she speaking up?
Well, because there is a revolt. There is a civil war going on right now in the Democrat Party.
Yes, and she is saying that the Democratic Party must find a way, listen to this is her now, must find a way to unite behind progressive candidates and appeal to independents. So she is now fostering the divide, okay? Why?
Yeah, good question.
Because I think in time you'll see where the Clintons and the Obamas will distance themselves from the radical socialists, okay, and foster a move away from socialism, okay, and that puts them in a power play to control money for the next election cycle.
Interesting.
They could be forfeiting this midterm.
That's quite a twist. Now, we know that a top advisor in her husband's administration has flipped. He is going for a Republican candidate for governor. I can't remember which state it's in. It may be against El Sayed. But he was really critical of the alphabet soup news media right now, especially MS Now, because he said they're not telling the full story. They're talking about the fact that Democrats may be approaching a civil war in their ranks, and they're candy coating the socialist movement that's coming forward, saying, well, they share a lot in common. They have a lot of common issues, affordability and such. Basically saying the news media is not getting it. The civil war has broken out. It is taking place right now, and they better get their news reporting straight so people get the right story, because you're going to have a lot of team voters on the Democrat side who go, well, maybe these guys aren't so bad.
Well, all right, so there's the surface campaign, which is all emotion, and then there's the below the surface campaign, which is all money.
Oh, yeah.
And the problem is the DNC isn't raising a penny.
They're broke. They're broke, and the super PACs are controlling it, and that's why these socialists are able to rise, because you get the socialist money, these people contributing to the socialist PACs, these super PACs, and they're giving the money, and that's how Kami Mamdani won in New York.
Well, so the point being is that they are in a divide. Money talks, baloney walks, as they say. And so I think in time, but when Hillary now pops up, this is strategic. This isn't just a comment from her. Everything the Clintons do is strategic. So she's probably moving, she did use a word in there, progressives.
Okay,
Okay, she's basically saying the progressive candidates must appeal to the independents. So she's saying we can't go all the way into the communism and socialism camp, even though they're for it.
Right.
They can't be identified with it. Wow. They're going to move back to the middle, whatever the middle is of the left, and try to control the dollars. And that's what's going to happen. Don't be surprised that the Clintons and the Obama PACs are going to kick in here shortly.
Do you expect to hear from Obama and Bill Clinton in the relative near future?
No, but they're people.
Okay.
Their organization.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because they have to protect the presidency. They have to protect their legacy. So they're not going to do that. Okay. So it's an interesting game. It's a sport. It's a blood sport.
Yeah, exactly.
Dr. Fauci.
Oh, goodness.
So they confiscate his government-issued phone, and they started unwinding the texts. Now, you think you delete a text? Have a nice day.
Yeah, it doesn't go away.
It does not go away. Right. Okay, and so they found out in there that he withheld information that the second jab of the vaccine openly would be a threat to women pregnant in their first trimester, could cause a miscarriage. And apparently the research clearly showed that, and he withheld it. What do you do with this?
Oh, this guy's got to be held responsible for what he did and what he said. They have to try it.
All right, so I was thinking about this the other day. Right now, here we are again in a situation where we uncover everything and nothing happens.
Yeah.
So how do you attack this so something does happen? And I'm thinking the only way possible for them to really get Dr. Fauci and eliminate all of this legal jumping jacks that they're going through is to invalidate the blanket pardon because it was an auto pen.
Exactly. Have they challenged the auto pen status of those pardons?
Apparently they're looking at it.
Okay.
So if they can unwind the auto pen blanket immunity, then they get them.
Does the ex-president Joe Biden know who he gave auto pen pardons to, or was this just a group of people working for him?
Well, they're saying the staffers were putting things in front of him, and he wasn't cognitive enough. In other words, they would say, "Mr. President, you need to do this one." Oh, okay, he did it.
It's kind of like Colonel Blake and Radar on.
Well, there you go. Exactly.
Radar, what did I just sign?
I don't know. So, but look, it's apparent that the president had cognitive issues.
Yeah.
He's so bad now that they couldn't put him on the stand.
Right.
They couldn't ask him any questions.
Right.
Because it's not going to come out.
Yeah.
So you had to go back into, you have to do the autopsy, so to speak, of the inner circle of the White House when this auto pen was signing things. But I was thinking about the only way they're going to get Dr. Fauci, they're going to have legal, then they're going to have appeal. They're going to have legal and appeal, legal and appeal. Legal.
Yeah.
He knows that.
And
but now they've uncovered the fact that he's a monster.
Right. And did you see this latest story? I caught it this morning after I got up and I was checking the headlines, and it was about what was going on in the NFL. And of course, Aaron Rodgers, superstar quarterback, who was ostracized to the nth degree because he was in vocal opposition to the protocols, to the vaccine, and to everything else that was going on. It turns out that inside the NFL, they were all buying vaccine cards. They weren't getting vaccinated, but they had to show vaccine cards to go along with the protocols. So he said he looked at some vaccine cards. He said it looked like they were signed in crayon. And he said, and obviously these guys, he said there were nurses in some organizations who were making a lot of money selling vaccine cards to NFL players.
There you go.
Oh, man.
This next story, I don't know how to cover it. The Governor Healy of Massachusetts signed a new law yesterday, circled by a bunch of women, and they're applauding.
And they're smiling and applauding. They're cheering. Yeah.
And cheering that they can kill the baby up to birth.
Up until the day of birth, yeah. This is so sad.
This is infant genocide.
Yeah, infanticide, yes.
It is so evil that you can't, and these people are happy. These are all women cheering that I can kill my baby right up to the day that it's born.
Oh, yeah.
Which means that some of these babies will still be born alive, but they're going to lay on the table and die.
Yes, absolutely.
This is, first of all, this governor is in, I don't think she knows what she's done here. Maybe she does. Secondly, how in the world can a doctor do this?
Yeah.
In good conscience.
Great question. Yes.
How can a doctor kill a baby and then deliver it?
Right, especially in view of the Hippocratic Oath, do not harm.
The only thing I can say is that we've reached a level of evil in this country.
Yes, this is evil.
And I don't know what God's going to do with this, but when I watched the signing of this, my stomach turned, and I thought, all right, this is one of 10 states that have removed gestational age limits, which basically mean that we have now 10 states in the United States that can kill the baby up to the day of birth.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And Oregon is still at the bottom of restrictions.
Right.
Is it coming here?
Yeah.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, and somewhat along the lines of that, the president yesterday signed a executive order revamping childhood vaccine guidelines. In other words, instead of getting all your vaccines at once, they're going to put some space in between them.
Oh, okay.
And here's a little bit of what the president said about that yesterday.
At 1 year, you should have 5 separate visits for vaccines rather than getting them all in the same day. And I saw this early on, and I've seen proof of it, where they have a vaccination thing, looks like the size of a bottle of soda, poured into a little child's body. And bad things happen in too many cases, because this is an explosion, this is an epidemic.
Robert Kennedy weighed in on this as well.
Oh, okay.
So I think this is a result of some of his research. But think about it. You go in and you're going to take a little infant or maybe a young kindergarten child. You're going to fill them full of vaccines all at once.
Yeah, that's...
So anyway, those are some of the top stories on this Tuesday morning. That's a lot. And we'll take a, what do we have today?
Raspberry bombs.
Right, well, there we go. Raspberry bomb. A kinetic bomb. We'll be right back.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Your love makes me sing and hallelujah.
They travel across America to give an answer for questions, doubts, and challenges concerning faith.
The Gospels are historically reliable.
Their mission, present truth, faith, and help people find purpose.
Not based on blind faith.
Join them as they strive to make a lasting impact on lives and hearts for Christ.
They're either all wrong or one of them's right. I got to go to the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Don't miss Give Me an Answer, weekdays at 3 on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back. Happy Tuesday to you. Jerry's here.
Yep.
Anyway, good morning to you. Well, I tell you what's big news. The wildfires burning out there. It's amazing. And across the western United States, in Canada, Spokane, I mean, some of these images of the fires are just horrific. British Columbia declared the state of an emergency as a fast-moving fire forced more than 20,000 people to literally run from their communities. And but some people whose homes were saved turn right around and go back in and help the people whose homes that they lost. And here's one of the residents talking about that.
I still have my house and some people don't, so I want to try and help them get whatever they need.
They're still hopeful. They're still keeping your chin up like good Canadians, right? It's about what else can they do other than, accept the cards they've been dealt.
Well, look, does this remind you of something that we had right here a couple of years ago?
Yes, it does. Yep.
And there's the western part of the United States and Canada is just on fire. 2.3 million acres burned or are burning in the state of Oregon. I got to give credit where credit is due, and thank you for Senator Wyden. He's now proposing a bill that would give people who've lost their homes immediate wildfire tax relief. And that should be the case.
Yeah, yeah.
That they wouldn't be paying any tax. If they lost everything, why should they be paying taxes on it?
Yeah.
And so it's a common sense bill. We'll see where this goes. So hopefully that works its way through. In the meantime, the big fire here in southern Oregon, it's the Wrights Fire, which is just northeast of Klamath Falls, just west of or east of the lake there. It's now up to 47,000 acres, zero containment.
How active are they on this fire? Because I would assume there aren't that many structures or people who live out there. Maybe I'm in the dark on this.
No, it is pretty much a wild area. Okay. When they map an area for evacuation, have you ever seen? You've seen those maps on Watch Duty.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it could take in a lot of air.
I was on that map.
Oh, I know, yeah, you were level.
Yeah.
What were you, 2?
Yeah, we were at 2. Yeah.
Okay, so it will show you, areas that really, there are no structures, there are no people.
Okay, yeah.
But that's how they map it, so they have to tell it and post it. The hard part about this fire is the afternoon winds that kick up and the heat. Yes, there's assets on the fire. There's bulldozers. There's people. There's aircraft. All that is subject to the conditions, and so. But it's continuing to burn, and it's a big deal. There's a lot of fires. The big ones, where we're talking hundreds of thousands of acres in central and northeastern Oregon, they are getting a handle on a lot of those. They're slowly getting lines around them and having them burn into themselves. So that's good news. But we're pushing the $2.3 million acres of burning or burned in the state of Oregon. This is the big one right now. And I talked to somebody yesterday whose father had to go home because their home was being moved from 2 to 3. So I guess they give you this time, get things out.
Right, yeah.
And so he went there to get things out, not knowing, you know. So anyway, serious problems with fire here in throughout Oregon. Here's a picture of the satellite map, and you can see what's going on. We do have cooler temperatures, but we still have hot, dry situations. And as you can see, not a whole lot of activity up and down the Pacific Northwest.
Well, here's something. I'm curious to hear this because I'm a little confused. Because on Fox Business This Mornings with Maria, Texas Congressman Chip Roy talked about Americans nominating more extreme candidates, obviously on the Democrat side. He's worried by the lack of results from Republicans as they go into recess.
Well, I long ago decided not to get into the prediction business on seats because it often blows up on you. But here's what I'll tell you. Democrats are nominating a lot of radical people, okay? And that's on the House side and the Senate side. Obviously, we saw what just happened in Michigan, where they chose someone much more radical to be their nominee. We've seen it in other places as well. And so I think there's a lot of revolt. There's a lot of, resistance by the American people to where the radical DSA type candidate is going. But Republicans can't just depend on the fact that Democrats are nominating radical nominees to win the election. I think we've got to get out and finish strong in order for us to gain seats or hold the line in the House and in the Senate. Right now at the election or today, I'd be pretty darn nervous as a Republican. I think the map favors us, obviously, with redistricting, but we can't depend on those things. We need to finish strong in September on the things the American people care about. The Senate leaving town kind of tail between their legs was not a momentum booster, and I think we need to finish strong in September.
Well, this will cost Thune his job, and it should.
Yeah.
Senator Thune should go. He's a weak majority leader in the Senate, and he should go. They didn't get the SAVE Act through. This is just crazy.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But look, folks, let me say this. All of us have an opinion about something. All of us think that we're right and the other person's wrong. This is America. You can think any way you want to think, okay? And you can believe any way you want to believe. At the end of the day, we lose for one reason.
And that is?
We don't vote.
Yeah, good point. Yep.
And if we don't vote, we don't get out and vote, and we don't encourage others to get out and vote. I don't care if you're an independent, vote.
Yeah,
because you're going into a general election, all the people are going to be on that ballot, vote.
Yeah, complacent.
But if you don't vote, I mean, Tennessee had a lousy turnout. We were in the low 50s for our primaries.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
So we can sit here and talk all day long and point fingers and get angry. Yeah, I guess, it's good for blood pressure medicine companies. They're the ones making the money off of our anxiety.
Big pharma.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Okay.
We're going to go have, a kinetic something.
A kinetic raspberry bomb.
There we go.
I'm running to your arms. I'm running to your arms. The riches of your love.
Hey, this is Ed, co-owner of Visiting Angels. To continue to serve our seniors, we need more caregivers with a heart to serve. Our mission statement is honoring the art of giving, which means we honor you, the caregiver. We know it's our people that make Visiting Angels the best in-home care provider and a great place to work. Come be our next amazing caregiver. Give us a call or apply online. At Visiting Angels, we're committed to you because we honor the art of giving.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare. Your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
theDove TV, encouraging and informative for the Fresno Visalia area on new full-power KEDZ TV, seen on cable, satellite TV, and over-the-air. theDove TV, encouraging and informative for the Fresno Visalia area on new full-power KEDZ TV.
Okay, welcome back. Happy Kinetic Tuesday to you. Kinetic Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's the new word, kinetic.
Kinetic.
All right, good morning to you. CBN News kind of take a little bit. This is quite the twist of stories this morning. They start off with what's going on in Israel, and especially now that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says to the president, hey, Don, and I'm being facetious here, we're gonna take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, Bibi. Okay. And then the other side, then they flip and they go and they talk about the fires in the West. So let's check in with CBN News this morning.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected the 15-point Gaza peace plan intended to disarm Hamas and create conditions for a full Israeli withdrawal.
Israel rejects the 15-point plan. The IDF will not carry out any withdrawal until Hamas is disarmed. And when I say disarming Hamas, it means the heavy weapons, the less heavy weapons, and the light weapons, all the weapons. And we are talking about real disarmament, not a fictitious disarmament.
Netanyahu says Israel is talking with the U.S., but will continue to stand against the enemy.
The IDF will continue to thwart threats against our forces and citizens because, once again, the existence of Israel and the security of all Israeli citizens is not up for negotiation.
The White House is said not to be worried about Netanyahu's refusal. In an interview with Israel's Channel 12, Gaza Board of Peace Representative Nikolai Mladenov says Hamas must fully disarm.
Nobody is required to do anything, last of all Israel, before we actually have verified steps on the ground.
According to Hamas, that's never going to happen. 10 days ago, Hamas representative in Iran, Khaled Kadumi, was asked on Iranian television if Hamas would disarm. In an interview translated and posted by Memory, he replied,
Never. Armed resistance is considered legitimate under international law because we are living under occupation.
Regarding Iran, Netanyahu said he appreciates President Trump, but indicated that Israel will take care of Iran's nuclear threat on its own if need be.
And I want to emphasize once again, with or without an agreement, as long as I'm prime minister, Iran will not possess nuclear weapons.
That comes as Iran's Supreme National Security Council and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps are making new demands for reopening the Strait of Hormuz, including full compensation for war damages, lifting all sanctions, releasing frozen assets, and withdrawing U.S. forces from the region. They also say the U.S. must never threaten or insult Iran in any language, permanently end the war against Iran and Iran's allies in Lebanon, Gaza, Yemen, and Iraq, lift the naval blockade, and withdraw military forces from the surroundings of Iran. But President Trump is downplaying negotiations with Iran, telling Axios, "We are low-keying it as Iran faces 88% inflation." Also here in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan signed a defense deal on Friday, essentially agreeing to band together if one of them is attacked. Shortly thereafter, Pakistan's defense minister told a local news outlet that Israel is a threat to the entire Muslim world and called for a united military front against the Jewish state. Foundation for Defense of Democracy's analyst Jonathan Conricus says the alliance calls into question Turkey's loyalty to NATO and whether the U.S. should supply them with advanced American weaponry.
I think it's a worrying sign. 3 countries that allegedly are aligned with the U.S. but are breaking out and deciding to form a separate military strategic alliance. For me, it makes me question their loyalty towards the United States of America, and I wonder why Turkey, a significant and lauded NATO member, needs to be in yet another military alliance.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Wildfires continue to burn out of control in the West, where firefighters are working to contain nearly 100 large fires. Hundreds of thousands of acres have been scorched in Utah, where 2 pilots were killed fighting a 174-square-mile wildfire that's still burning. The helicopter flying in an area of steep terrain crashed, igniting another fire.
Unfortunately, the fire does not stop to let our boots on the ground mourn their comrades. So it's very heavy out there.
Residents in southern Oregon have been forced to evacuate as the Wright Spring fire continues to grow in size. A contractor died while helping firefighters. The flames cut off his escape route. Along the California-Nevada border, the bug fire is threatening homes near Reno. The fires are fueled by extremely hot and dry conditions and are straining firefighting resources. Officials have been forced to redeploy crews and equipment to only the most dangerous areas. North of the border, Canada is battling its own fire crisis.
This fire is getting a lot closer.
More than 20,000 people have been ordered to flee their communities in British Columbia, which is now under a state of emergency.
Not sure how long I'm going to be able to stay here.
Several major cities from the west to the east will see temperatures today from the 90s to 100 degrees. The smoke from the western fires will affect air quality across parts of the country. Meanwhile, severe storms over the weekend swept across the Northeast from New England to Maryland, leaving thousands without power in Massachusetts. In Springfield, Massachusetts, part of this building collapsed during the storm. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Dozens of people who lived there were left homeless. It came after the Northeast was soaked from days of downpours. And in Pennsylvania, intense rainfall on Friday left behind widespread flooding. Stormwater even formed lakes in parts of Westmoreland County. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
There you go. When even our own backyard makes world news.
How about that?
Yeah. All right, good morning to you. Let's check out the weather here in the region, see what's going on.
Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with a high near 82 in Vancouver. Portland reaches 83, while Wilsonville and McMinnville warm into the mid-80s this afternoon. Through the Willamette Valley, mostly sunny conditions continue with Salem reaching 86. Albany and Corvallis both top out near 82, while Eugene also warms to 86 with a bright and warm afternoon across the valley. Sunshine holds in central Oregon with Bend and Sun River both reaching the upper 80s. Prineville climbs to 89 with patchy smoke, while Boise starts sunny before patchy smoke develops with highs near 96. Along the Oregon coast, mostly sunny skies bring a high of 72 in Coos Bay, while Port Orford stays mostly sunny near 68. Brookings becomes sunny near 60, and Crescent City is mostly sunny, windy, and near 67. Across southern Oregon, sunny skies continue for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland, with afternoon highs from 90 to 95. Klamath Falls reaches 91 with areas of smoke, and a warm, dry afternoon. Sunny and hot in Northern California with patchy smoke around Wairika and highs near 95. Redding reaches 100. Chico climbs to 97, while Fort Bragg starts with patchy fog before turning sunny. Around the Bay Area, fog gives way to sunny skies and 82 in Santa Rosa. Napa becomes sunny with a high near 79. San Francisco stays mostly sunny near 73. And San Jose starts sunny near 86. A coastal flood advisory remains in effect. For Central California, sunny and hot conditions continue with Sacramento near 94 and 95 in Stockton, Modesto. Fresno, Visalia reach 105, and Bakersfield 104 under an extreme heat warning. And that's a look at your Tuesday weather from Grange Co-op.
Yep, time for a look back. And in this case, she was considered one of the most beautiful women in the world, but she also had a brain that she used as an inventor, and she was definitely ahead of her time. She was one of Hollywood's most glamorous actresses, but Hedy Lamarr was also an inventor who helped change the way the world communicates. On this day in 1942, Lamarr and composer George Antheil received a patent for a secret communication system that used frequency hopping to make radio-controlled torpedoes much harder for the enemy to jam or intercept. Eventually, the technology behind their invention became an important part of military communications and helped inspire technologies behind modern-day Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. And here's the astonishing part. Lamarr and Antheil never received a penny in royalties. Their patent expired in 1959, long before the wireless revolution took off. So the woman once called the world's most beautiful actress helped pioneer technology we use every day and made absolutely nothing from it. How about that? Hedy Lamarr. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they said, I saw a special on her. They said her, her dressing room when she was making movies, said it looked like a laboratory with bottles and stuff because she was always working. She was always working on stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, but she let the patent go by.
They didn't have any. It wasn't being used. The patent runs out on its own.
Wow.
Yes.
All right. We're going to take a patent break. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life? Now's the time to call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Jerry's Historical Archives. U.S. history. Great moments in time. Record breakers. Our music through the years. Historic leaders. Moments to remember. Go back in time. Back in the day. TV shows of the past. nostalgia.
It's a wonderful trip down memory lane with fun and interesting stories you might not know about. Relive the past and learn something new.
Open up Jerry's Historical Archives. Weekdays only on Mornings on the Dove.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. Oh, shine.
Welcome back. Had Portland Trailblazer chaplain Mike Tadlock. He's really a fun guy. Hope to have him in the studio someday.
Yeah.
He's one of these guys that I think he gets up and sticks his finger in a wall socket and then goes to work. Okay. And we talked about young men who feel that the culture has lied to them. And here's what he had to say.
My wife and I, we were just at a conference last year for professional athletes and it was a Christian conference, and it was with pro athletes. They do it football, baseball, basketball, and we're seeing, and anybody who pays attention to sports right now, you're seeing this more boldness for sharing your faith, the gospel, taking knees at the end of the games, open prayers from teams, players acknowledging their faith in Christ more boldly. You can't say that that's not a move of God. It is a move of God. And I think what happens is sometimes Satan overplays his hand. And, Satan's always trying. He did that with Jesus. He thought, oh, I've got him. Little did he know that putting Jesus on the cross, Satan thinking he's winning, was actually Jesus' set up to overcome sin and death and his resurrection and power. So Satan's always trying to work against the purposes of God, but God's plan is going to prevail. And I think what we're seeing with men right now, specifically men have been demonized in our culture, and that's part of Satan's end game. He wants to demonize the leadership of men, the identity of men, and we say it this way: we're called to disciple men where culture has demonized men and give them a focus on a Jesus-centered masculinity. And so we're seeing so many young men. I'm part of a Wednesday night men's group that is exploding, and most of those guys are young dudes inviting their friends, and there's a hunger out there. The statistics are saying that the largest return back to church right now is young men. And I think that, again, you push too far and Satan overplays his hand, God's going to use that to create a hunger and thirst for, right now we're seeing young men to come back to faith, come back to the Lord, and anchor themselves in their identity and their masculinity. And it's pretty exciting. I think men have been in an identity crisis. And I think that we're seeing, again, the studies that are coming out about the anxious generation is what they call these young, both men and women. There's been books out actually called The Anxious Generation. And I think there is this heightened sense of anxiety with the world, definitely with their identity. And also what I'm seeing is these young men are hungry for spiritual mentors. There's a verse where Paul says to the Corinthians, he says, you have your thousands of teachers, but you don't have very many spiritual fathers. I became your spiritual father when I shared the gospel with you and when I gave you an example to follow. And I think what we're seeing amongst this young generation is a deep, deep hunger, not just for the Lord and their faith in isolation. They want to be discipled. They want to be mentored, which is exciting because that allows us to awaken those who are older than the young men to say, man, you can disciple, and that's going to give you a restored purpose and passion. So we're seeing a cross-generational opportunity of discipleship right now.
That's great. Man.
Well, look, this is big. Yesterday I had a PhD on professor from Ottawa Canada University, retired now, where she was a full-blown man-hating feminist.
Okay.
And as she was teaching the class, she realized, as she began to see the men in her class literally cower. And she realized then she needed to investigate the truth, and now she is a full-blown anti-feminist woman.
Okay.
And what the feminist movement has done to men, especially young men. Now, what Mike was saying there was one other thing, is yes, some guys are coming back to faith, but a lot of the young guys have never had any faith foundation, and they're investigating faith. Here's a question I have to all of us out there. Are we prepared for them to come into our church?
Great question.
They're going to look, sound, and feel, and act, and talk, and dress differently.
Right.
Are we ready for this? No. Because it's an unbelievable opportunity for us to open the door.
Yeah.
So.
But he makes a good point, too. You know, you see this on display in some of these professional games now. We've seen it in NFL games when the game is over. You see teams, players circling together in the center of the field, praying together, from the different teams. Right. Of course, we've seen coaches get in trouble in the high school level for it, but that seems to be shifting as well now. So these are good signs.
Good signs.
Yeah.
Good signs.
Okay, well, a young guy has combined his knack for technology and desire to help into really making a difference in a little girl's life.
A 13-year-old Utah boy could have spent his summer playing video games or hanging out with his friends. Instead, Zach Waters spent nearly 300 hours building something to make a little girl's life easier. Zach became fascinated with 3D printing and discovered a nonprofit called Make Good that uses technology to create assistive devices. So he designed and built a custom wheelchair for a 21-month-old girl. He gave it pink accents because that's her favorite color, added a removable tray and cup holder, and even included space for medical equipment. The chair can also adjust as she grows. Zach says the project combines his two favorite things, 3D printing and helping people. And his grandmother may have summed it up best. His age does not define his ability to make a difference, his character does. At just 13, Zach is already proving that sometimes the best way to use a talent is to use it for someone else.
Amen.
Oh, God bless kids.
Yeah.
God bless kids. All right, good morning to you. Take the scripture with you today. The Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 13. Greater love has no one than this, that someone lay down his life for his friends. That's what Jesus did for you. Think about it. We'll be right back.
Sound of hearts returning to you.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Hi, I'm Paulina Leiser, producer and host of The Ancient Church. Join me Sunday evenings as we explore Orthodox Christianity, its history, theology, worship, and living traditions.
The Ancient Church, Sundays at 6 p.m. on theDove TV.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon. Real Life with Jack Hibbs, now on the Dove TV every weekend. Direct from Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, Jack challenges today's generation to understand and practice the biblical worldview, verse by verse, addressing key cultural and daily life issues. Deepen your walk with Christ to make an effective impact on your world. Don't miss Real Life with Jack Hibbs, Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative. Bringing clarity to cultural confusion. Stand in the Gap, Wednesdays and Thursdays on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative. Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative. Helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday to you. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. This is where Jerry gets his kick.
Yeah, that's easy for you to say.
It's not kicks.
It's not
kick.
kicks. Yeah, it's
Anyway,
singular.
Yeah, good morning to you. Happy Tuesday. A lot in the news. I mean, it is a ton of news day. One of those things where we almost don't have enough time to get through it all, and yet we're just highlighting some of the big things that are out there. So there's a lot going on in this crazy world. But what would we do without our faith? How would we get through? How do you get? How do non-believers get through?
Yeah.
I guess that's why the bars are full.
Oh, great point.
You know?
Yes.
I don't know. I say that.
It's
respectfully,
true.
But
yeah.
I really don't know how you can make it through this crazy world if you didn't have some level of faith. If you didn't understand who God is. He's all knowing, all present, and all powerful. And until you can grasp that, in which it's impossible to grasp that. And that he really is in control. And guess what? He's in control of the big picture.
Yeah.
And yet he knows the number of hairs on your head.
You ask a great question. What do people of no faith, how do they get through times like this? You know, it's what bartenders and psychiatrists have in common. Them.
Oh, yeah. And barbers, psychiatrists.
Oh, there you go, yes.
I mean, they are the great confessional, you know.
Yes.
You know, you used to go to a confession with a priest. Now you go to a bar or a barber shop. Right? I say that's tongue in cheek, but I mean, the anxiety level's all-time high.
Well,
and,
yes.
So anyway, happy Tuesday to you. A lot going on in the news. We'll do our best to kind of bring all this to you.
Yeah.
Weather-wise, we're down a little bit, and temperature-wise, it's actually noticeable, at least here.
Yeah.
But the Pacific Northwest is burning. And all the way up into Canada. And the Spokane thing is unbelievable. The Rice Fire over in Klamath Falls. I mean, it's just endless at the moment. And this is only the middle of August. We have September to go through. So we'll give you all that stuff coming up in a little bit. Anything different today?
Well, first of all, it is National Sons and Daughters Day, bringing parents and their kids together for quality time. Let your children know that you are glad they are part of your life. And that can be tested at times, I'm sure.
Well, can we give them back?
No. That's one thing about kids. There is a no return policy. It's not like Costco.
Okay, then I know what we do.
What?
We change their last name. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, at least that's a little bit of...
And it's interesting, the chemistry that you have between sons and daughters. I mean, it's different. We have 2 boys and a girl, and it was, we try to treat our kids the same. We give them the same food. They were under the same roof. And
they don't come with instructions. They don't come with a manual.
And they don't turn out the same way. What's up with that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's God's joke.
But it is also God's great blessing in our lives. So I'm grateful. Also, National Presidential Joke Day, a day intended to make people laugh and not cause conflict. And that's hard to avoid sometimes because there may be a president that you're really good at making a joke about that may not be appreciated by someone else.
No, it's fun when you can laugh at yourself.
Yeah,
I thought one of the best ones at those White House press dinners they have was George W. and the guy that got up and mimicked him.
Oh, yes.
And they were both at the stage at the same time.
Yes.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, I like that.
That was hilarious.
I remember I was watching one of those, and W was up, and he was talking. He was president at the time, and he was talking about the fact it was the press dinner.
Yeah.
And he says, unfortunately, Senator Barack Obama didn't show up tonight because there's not enough press here. And obviously, those guys have turned out to be pretty good pals.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, everybody condemns people for having friends on the other side of the aisle.
Yeah.
You know, look, it's kind of like attorneys, you know. They're bulldogs in the courtroom. They're beer buddies afterwards.
Yeah, right.
You know. So.
Right. Well, remember, on this Presidential Joke Day, be kind with your jokes and spread happiness.
There we go.
Good luck on that.
Yeah,
all right. Also, Play in the Sand Day, reminding people to get outside, enjoy the sunshine, create some fun in the sand, and there are a lot of ways to do it. Be careful. You know, we always see those stories about kids digging in the sand, and then the hole collapses and somebody gets trapped inside of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, be careful. I mean, you can take, good things too far.
Yeah.
So, but have fun in the sand. And then here's a weird twist on it. It is Global Kinetic Sand Day.
Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, a day to share the magic of the squeezable sand that never dries out. Originally developed to make sand play less of a mess by mixing sand with beeswax. Kinetic sand has been further developed to the squeezable sand everyone knows and loves today. Well, not everyone, because I don't know it so much. So squish, mix, slice, and mold kinetic sand into any shape you want. The creative possibilities are endless. That's pretty cool looking stuff.
Well, I thought that was Play-Doh, but it's
It
not.
looks like it, yeah. It looks a lot like Play-Doh,
I
but
wonder if it tastes good. Didn't you used to eat Play-Doh?
I think everybody tried it.
Yeah.
And we survived it.
Yeah, we survived it.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of coloring they put in it, but that can be a problem. And also, only one thing to eat. It is National Raspberry Bomb Day.
Ooh.
Yes, and raspberry bomb, it looks pretty good. A typical bomb contains sherbet, heavy cream, sugar, chopped nuts, candied fruit, and a dash of rum. The dessert is layered using a spherical mold and frozen overnight with raspberries as the main ingredient. The result creates a terrific centerpiece, and of course, raspberries at the height of season right now, so there are a lot of different ways you can use raspberries. And here is the bomb version of it, not the kinetic raspberry bomb, because that might go off. But it looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever had it?
I don't think I have ever even seen one.
Well.
Until we did right now.
All right, here's the kinetic weatherman, known as Alfred.
Yeah.
Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with a high near 82 in Vancouver. Portland reaches 83, while Wilsonville and McMinnville warm into the mid-80s this afternoon. Through the Willamette Valley, mostly sunny conditions continue with Salem reaching 86. Albany and Corvallis both top out near 82, while Eugene also warms to 86 with a bright and warm afternoon across the valley. Sunshine holds in central Oregon with Bend and Sun River both reaching the upper 80s. Prineville climbs to 89 with patchy smoke, while Boise starts sunny before patchy smoke develops with highs near 96. Along the Oregon coast, mostly sunny skies bring a high of 72 in Coos Bay, while Port Orford stays mostly sunny near 68. Brookings becomes sunny near 60, and Crescent City is mostly sunny, windy, and near 67. Across southern Oregon, sunny skies continue for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland, with afternoon highs from 90 to 95. Klamath Falls reaches 91 with areas of smoke, and a warm, dry afternoon. Sunny and hot in Northern California with patchy smoke around Wairika and highs near 95. Redding reaches 100. Chico climbs to 97, while Fort Bragg starts with patchy fog before turning sunny. Around the Bay Area, fog gives way to sunny skies and 82 in Santa Rosa. Napa becomes sunny with a high near 79. San Francisco stays mostly sunny near 73. And San Jose starts sunny near 86. A coastal flood advisory remains in effect. For Central California, sunny and hot conditions continue with Sacramento near 94 and 95 in Stockton, Modesto. Fresno, Visalia reach 105, and Bakersfield 104 under an extreme heat warning. And that's a look at your Tuesday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, there's a familiar shot for me. For those down in the Central Valley, that's off the big broadcast tower down there in Walnut Grove. That's looking out over towards the Delta area of the Sacramento-San Joaquin Valley. Very familiar sight for me. Reminds me of a lot of years where I'd get up early in the morning and fly in that kind of stuff.
Speaking of the Delta,
and I used to fly right there over that area and down around. Of course, that's southeast. That's southwest of Sacramento.
This takes you back.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
especially at that altitude.
Yeah, I bet it does. Yeah. Watch out for the guide wires.
Yeah, well, I didn't get down that far much.
Okay.
To the right of that would have been like Stockton, but to the northeast of that would have been Sacramento, and then out to the west would have been Suisun Bay, Vacaville, all of that area, Davis. He used to fly all of that.
Okay, I'm curious. You used to fly traffic. So you'd go to, obviously you were on a pattern that you flew. What kind of mileage would you do in a typical morning?
You know, that's a good question, because I had a plane that I could slow it down to about 100.
Oh, okay.
Well, let me back up. The first one I flew, the Cardinal, I could slow it down to 60 or 70.
Wow.
Okay, and then get it up to like 120.
Okay.
The second plane I flew, which was the 182 RG, turbocharged, that thing scooted. And I could do a report over Vacaville, and 8 minutes later I could be over Folsom Lake and Roseville.
Oh, really? That is scooting.
Yeah. So but now, then cameras came. Those crazy thing called cameras.
Yeah, well,
there went the airplane.
Yeah. Well, look what happened to your life.
Yeah.
They surround you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
So be it. All right. Well, here is a great look as Dr. Anthony George encourages us when we take our prayers to the Lord.
I am so thankful that Jesus stands still for us. You know, when I pray, I feel like a little child sometimes, and I've been this way for years, and I just can't shake it when I'm praying. It's not all the time, but sometimes I'll be talking to Jesus, and I'll be saying, Lord, this world is so big with so many people, and there's billions of people, as you know. You made them all, and so many people know you and are calling on you right now. Are you listening to me? Can you focus on me? Now, that's how I think. See, God's mind is so infinite. We can't even, how can he be listening to millions and millions of people praying at the same time in South America, Australia, Africa, Asia, wherever it happens to be? They're all praying to heaven in Jesus' name at the same time, and yet he hears every single one of us as if we were the only ones praying. Can you understand how God can hear each one of us? The beauty of this is that Jesus stood still. All of the multitudes he was impacting, but in that moment there was only one person that mattered. And the reason that many of you are here today is because there was a time when he was passing by in your life and he was on his way to bless others and to save others and to heal others, but you called out desperately enough, and he stopped in his tracks and he stood still for you. And you're here because Jesus stood still. He said to you, I have time for you. You matter to me. Your soul matters, but in addition to your soul, every need in your life matters because I love you. Jesus stood still.
That's a great message, man.
Yeah. I was reading a book of a testimony of a pastor's wife who was really burdened. She was really, really, really burdened. And I think we get to the point where, to what Dr. George was saying there, God, are you listening to me?
Right. How can you?
I know you're busy. You're running the universe.
Right.
And there are millions of people talking to you right now. Are you listening to me?
Yeah.
And the Lord spoke to her through the reflection of the soap that made bubbles in her dishwater when she was doing the dinner at night.
What? That's interesting. What?
So if you are open to God talking to you, I think you got to remember in talking to God, if we're not careful, it's like picking up the phone, telling him everything, and then hanging up.
Yeah.
Okay, stop and listen. Show yourself to me today, through a word, through a person, through something, through the dove.
Yeah.
Somehow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so much for all that. All right, let's take a look at the Main stories. Hold on, folks. We got a lot going on here, so let's go through all these top stories this morning. The president has said to basically Iran, have a nice day. Your ultimatum, your 6-point ultimatum is baloney, and we're not going there. In the meantime, Iran actually was telling the United States that they had to pay reparation for what they've done to the country. And the president said, no, that ain't happening. And basically said, you need to pay reparation to the families of the people that you killed. So the 6-point plan ultimatum from Iran is being rejected. Here we are, on again, off again. So that's kind of what's going on with all of that. It's pretty crazy. And let's see, do I have all this correctly? I do here. Okay. In the meantime, the other big story is that there was a major earthquake yesterday in Colombia, killing a little over 100 people. At least that's the beginning number. The video and the images are just unbelievable as you see these buildings collapse. And this is about, it's a 7.4 magnitude. The epicenter is a place called San Jose del Palmar, which is a municipality about 250 miles west of the capital of Bogota. And this is horrific, to say the least. And one of the mayors in the communities down there is asking the mayor of Bogota for help. Here's what he had to say.
I have requested support from the mayor of Bogota and the mayor of Medellin with rescue workers. I ask citizens to remain calm. Also check if your buildings have apparent structural damage. If you don't feel safe, if you see very large cracks, please exit the building.
We've got to remember, just a little while ago, 2 major earthquakes within about 3 or 4 minutes of each other hit Venezuela. So if you look at the fault line, this is right in line because Colombia is right next door to Venezuela. So pray for these people. It's pretty amazing what's going on down there. A little bit of a twist of what's going on, as you know, right now, the Democrats are getting a lot of news right now because they seem to be splitting right down the middle. And if you listen to the legacy news and everything else, you kind of go, where is this all going to end up? Well, you know it's a new day when Hillary Clinton weighs in. And basically, what she was saying is that the Democrats, she's basically saying the Republicans, however, anti-communist messaging will be very effective going into this midterm election. Okay? Okay, if people turn out to vote, obviously. But this, basically what she is saying is this. She's warning Democrats that the party must find a way to unite behind progressive candidates and appeal to the independents. In other words, come away from these radical socialist
Okay, so she's defining progressives as other candidates other than these, these DSA candidates.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so...
So this is the beginning of something. Look, Clintons are always calculated. Okay, so I think, but she's probably positioning to move people away from the crazies, because even though they are socialists themselves, they can't be identified with this bunch. So come back into the independents, and we'll work together. So that's yet to come. But the Democrats have they have a problem as big as their division. Money.
Okay, yeah, right. Good point.
The money is not flowing.
Yeah, now you mentioned work together, and when I listen to Hillary Clinton talk, I wonder how much influence does Bill have on what she says? Because you mentioned before that perhaps ex-presidents aren't so eager to go out and voice their opinion on some of the political happenings of the day. Do they consult? Does she talk to Big Bill, to Bubba, about what she should be voicing?
Well, let me back up and say this. President George W. Bush said something the other day. I like the guy. Some people don't, but I like the guy. I got to meet him on a couple occasions. But here's the deal. He basically said it's easy to criticize a president while they're in office, but for the sake of the office, he doesn't do it.
Right. Because that's very respectful,
someday that person won't be in that office and somebody else. So you have to protect the office of the presidency. So when it comes to President Clinton and President Obama, they probably understand that their own legacy could be lost on something that they would say out of frustration. But Bubba, if I can use that term respectfully, President Clinton has something that that is very powerful, and that's a wife that's very angry.
Right.
And so they probably will work together. But she is relentless in wanting to have power back.
I think so.
And so she will figure out a way, in my opinion, to be a power broker going into this next go-around. They may be forfeiting the midterms. Okay. But their bigger problem is who is really on the bench that can be elected for 2028.
Right. You know,
and when you got AOC being at the top of the list, or even Kamala Harris, that tells you they're really in disarray.
And I've been listening to AOC, in spite of the fact that she is on the forefront of helping campaign for these, you know, socialist candidates.
Yeah.
She seems to be softening her message. She's trying to, as we see oftentimes, move, I think, a little bit back towards the center.
Well,
that's dangerous.
It's not about public service. It's not about what's best for the country. It's not about what's best for humanity. It's not about protecting the uniqueness and the exceptionalist of America. It's about power.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, here's another one. More and more of the Fauci problem continues to emerge. I did not know, but I found out, like everybody else, that Dr. Fauci had a government-issued phone. Well, they took it away from him, and they did their forensics on the phone, and now they're finding text messages that are really alarming, and that he basically said that the second coronavirus jab was directly associated with miscarriages in pregnant women in the first trimester. And apparently they found that on his phone, but it never went public as a warning. Can you imagine
Do you know that there are still no warnings on the COVID vaccine to this day?
I don't know, but I will say this: the only, in my opinion is nothing more than somebody else's opinion. Okay, it seems to me that the only way they're going to get Dr. Fauci, and quite frankly, I know this sounds awful, but they need to get him.
Yeah,
this guy's a monster.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Is they're going to have to go all the way back to the auto pin.
Yes.
The only way they're going to get him is to invalidate the blanket pardon.
Is anybody looking at that
They
auto
are.
pen issue?
They are.
Okay.
And if the auto pen was done by a staffer, okay, now you got to remember there were two blanket pardons. Hunter Biden was signed by the president himself
And he
for
was
his
the only
son.
one. Yeah.
And the other one was the auto pen for Dr. Fauci.
Right. And there were a number of others too on the committee that investigated.
Yeah, those guys. Yeah. So anyway, we'll see what happens. But there you go. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine this information? He knew it and sat on it.
Sat on it. Yeah. You know, it's interesting too. You know, we've been looking at the vaccine and all the controversies around it, and I keep reading about Aaron Rodgers, the NFL great quarterback, who was a mouthpiece in opposition to vaccine and protocols, and they ganged up on him, especially on legacy news media. They just ostracized him. Well, he's speaking pretty freely right now, especially in lieu of, you know, in view of what's going on with Dr. Fauci. But he was talking about what was going on in the NFL. And, you know, we all had those vaccine cards. They were buying, a lot of players were buying vaccine cards from nurses, these you know, underground vaccine cards, getting them signed, so they didn't have to take the vaccine, but they could still go and practice and play and attend team meetings. Yeah, I don't know what the going rate was, but we have seen, and you've talked about some of the vaccine-related issues, medical issues that especially young men, athletes have gone through. It seems that some of these guys were ahead of the game.
There's a direct link between the vaccine and men under 40 and heart issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now we know that there's a direct link between first trimester miscarriages on a woman who was pregnant after the second jab, and it was hidden. So, all right, 22 past the hour. A couple more other quick stories. This next one I have to tell you, folks, turned my stomach. I don't know what to say. It sounds very negative. It is. I'm sorry. It's kind of a heavy morning here. But you need to know the realities of this. This is true. This is everyday life. But yesterday, the governor of Massachusetts, Governor Healy, surrounded by a bunch of women, as they applauded, she signed it, an abortion bill that allows for abortion to the day of birth.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
You have a baby that's full term, ready to be born, and they can kill it the day of birth. Now, this is evil on steroids. We have 10 states now that have gone away with it. They remove what they call gestational age limits, which basically means you can kill the baby. They're calling this health care.
Right, okay. Reproductive rights.
These women are cheering this as she signed this bill. I have two things. This is evil. And the doctors, what would be in the mind of a doctor that would do this?
Yeah. Especially
let that just ring cold in your blood, that in America we can kill your baby the day that it's due.
And how do you justify this with the Hippocratic oath that they swear to do no harm?
Oh, gosh. Okay. And along that line, the president did something yesterday that has to do with children. Apparently he signed an executive order that young people that do get the various vaccines in life early on, that they should be spread out so you don't get them all in one day. And here's what he had to say about that.
I came in and I said, I want to find what's going on with autism. It's many, many times what it used to be years ago, and it gets progressively worse, and we add progressively more and more vaccines. So in a nutshell, and you can see it through this, we're breaking up the vaccines and we're breaking them up into time periods. Okay? Not so complicated. And we think we're going to have a tremendous result from doing that.
So even RFK Jr. Was involved in this, and basically there was a time where you go in and a young person, a child, would get 5 vaccines at once. All right, now he wants to put some distance between that. It only makes common sense. It does. I'm not a doctor. I have no idea what all this means, but it seems to me if you're going to go in and it's like, one of the biggest problems you have today is you're taking too much medicine and there's nobody really telling you what's good for you and what's not good for you.
Exactly, and when we look at the scam that was pulled on us with COVID vaccines, does that undermine any credibility for childhood vaccines?
Well, see, this is yet to be played out, and one of the things of socialism is that kind of control.
Exactly.
If you don't knock this stuff out, folks, and you don't have a right over your own body.
Oh, you are so right.
So it's pretty interesting. Anyways, those are some of the top stories on this Wake Up, Get At It. Here we go, Tuesday morning where Jerry Billings is getting a kick.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be right back.
Jesus Messiah.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Breakfast served daily until 2 p.m. Breakfast burritos, biscuits and gravy, skillets, omelets, and more. Sweet Tea Express. Don't get caught hungry.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare. Your loved one can spend the day with us, and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
The world has a view, but God has the vision. That's what sets the Vision TV show apart. The Vision is an inspirational talk show that elevates voices of faith through powerful conversations, highlighting changemakers making a difference, blending heartfelt storytelling with practical insight, encouraging viewers to live life with clarity, compassion, and vision. Join Elvita King and friends for The Vision, Tuesdays right here on the Dove TV.
Hey, how you all doing out there? Happy, what is it? Happy Tuesday.
Yeah.
With Happy Jerry.
Oh yeah.
Hobbling along.
Yeah, well, as happily as I can.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, 28 past the hours. Look, this backyard fires and everything on the West Coast is serious, and up into Canada, unbelievable. Spokane, hundreds of homes have been lost up there. Anyway, the wildfire burns across western United States and Canada. And 20,000 people yesterday up in Canada, in the British Columbia area, had to run for their lives away from their homes. And then residents who ended up realizing their neighbors lost everything, and yet their home would survive, they want to go back in and help. And this is up in Canada. So here's a little bit of a response of a neighbor who wants to help a neighbor.
I still have my house and some people don't, so I want to try and help them get whatever they need.
They're still hopeful. They're still keeping your chin up like good Canadians, right? It's about what else can they do other than, accept the cards they've been dealt.
Mm-hmm. So for those of us in Southern Oregon, we ought to be just kind of reminding ourselves what we went through with the Alameda fire here that took out Phoenix and Talent.
Right, yeah.
And yet turn around and here it is happening to our neighbors to the north, same kind of thing, especially over in Klamath Falls. I'll have that for you a second here. But I'm in 2.3 now million acres burning or burnt in the state of Oregon, just one state. Wow. You got Washington, got a lot of fires. Northern California has fires. Now you got them up there in British Columbia. The Spokane loss, and all from a arson. They caught the guy.
Right.
And he admitted to 25 other fires. Yeah. This is just unbelievable. There's a little bit of a silver lining here, if I can put it that way, and that is you got to give credit where credit is due. And Senator Ron Wyden now is putting forth an immediate tax relief bill for victims who lost their home. And it's on hold, but you would seem to me that this would be a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. For the state and the federals to say, you no longer have to pay taxes on that.
Right.
You
yes.
know?
Yeah.
And anyway, so we'll see where this bill goes. Mm-hmm. But I just want to say thank you, Senator, for putting that out there. Let's see where it goes, okay? In the meantime, the Wrights Fire over here in Klamath Falls is now up to 47,000 acres. As you heard earlier, a contract person who was a cat operator, a big bulldozer operator, lost his life on that a couple of days ago. There doesn't seem to be any containment with this yet, which is unbelievable. And they got about 500 people on the fire. When they can, they'll put aircraft on the fire. But the evacuation notices, the go notice, level 3, they're all over the place. Mm-hmm. And so it is a rural area, we'll say that, but it's just amazing. Yeah. And so the only thing I can say is it is very, very, very serious out there, so be careful. Mm-hmm. All right, let's take a look at Wall Street for a Tuesday morning. Let's see what's happening there. Thank you, Preston, with Smart Lawn, helping us with this morning. And the Dow's back up 187 points at 54,163. The Nas is down a little bit, about 33 points, and the S&P hanging in there, only at 6 points, but it is driving things up a little bit, so that's interesting. In the meantime, gold is moving around. It's back up a little bit, 44.52. Silver's back down to 65, and crude oil did go down a little bit. It's at 86, almost $87. So that's down about 50 cents.
Hey, I got to tell you, I saw something yesterday I have never seen before. I left here. I need fuel.
Yeah.
So I go over to the Big C to get to fuel up, and I roll in there. There isn't one single car in that gas station, in that fuel station. All the attendants are all standing around the middle talking to each other. I am the only car that rolls in there.
What time of day was that?
This was right after. It was right after I left here. It was about 8:30 or 8:15-ish. And so I go rolling in there, and I roll down my window. He comes walking up, and I said, "What is it, the zombie apocalypse? What's going on around here?" And he goes, No. He starts laughing. I said, obviously there's somebody with cheaper gas than you today, right? He goes, no. He said,
they all went to work.
This is an anomaly. It happens once in a while.
Oh, okay.
I said, okay, fill me up and brace myself for the price. But anyway, all right, a little bit of frustration out there in the GOP ranks with the failure to pass the Save America bill.
Yep.
Oh boy. Well, a Texas congressman on Fox Business This Mornings with Maria answers the question, will this be a problem for the GOP come November's midterms?
Well, we certainly believe the Senate should have taken up the bill. We certainly believe that the bill is important, not just for the base, but for America, to understand and believe that your elections are going to be secure. Look, the Save America Act, which, as you noted, I authored 2 years ago in 2024. Mike Lee authored in the Senate. We've passed it 4 times in the House. Virtually all Republicans in the Senate believe we should pass it. You obviously have a handful that don't want to go down the road of either adjusting the filibuster or using reconciliation to move the bill. That's why they hit a wall this last week. I think the Senate should have stayed in. I think they should keep fighting to show the American people they're fighting for them. The Senate didn't do that. Maybe they'll come back, but I doubt it. So I think we need to focus in September, the House and the Senate, on finishing the job and delivering for the people. If we want to win in November, if Republicans want to be given the majority again in the House and the Senate, then we need to do what we said we would do. Secure America. That's what the Save America is about, securing elections. Finish the job the president's doing on the border. Codify what he's doing to secure the border. Let's limit the flow of some of the people coming into our country from countries that want to do us harm by pausing immigration. And then finally, let's get affordability under control. EJ's been talking about a lot of good things there on the show. EJ's a good friend. We're at war. That has some consequences. I think the American people want to see a fast resolution. And they also want to know that we're going to focus on healthcare, housing, food, and we can do that by stop government spending and meddling, free things up so that people can start affording what they need at home. So these are the things we got to address, and we don't have a lot of time to do it, but we got to demonstrate that we're willing to fight for the American people.
Well, the problem with that is John Thune needs to go away.
Yeah.
He needs to be dethroned as majority leader in my opinion.
Yeah.
The problem is they're going to come back in September. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of states. Let's just assume they come back in September and they pass the SAVE Act.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot of states aren't going to recognize it because their campaign laws and their ballot laws are already in place. Do you think for a moment they're going to go through and clean up the voter files in 60 days?
No, they can't.
It ain't going to happen.
Right.
And so this is just unbelievable that we can't get something through the U.S. Senate as obvious as this one.
Yep. Yeah.
It's you know what?
Right.
This ought to tell us all, whether you like this or not, you need to tell us all, this is verification that voter fraud has been there for a long time, and now that you put your finger on the neck of it, everybody's squirming.
Yeah.
Especially with states that have mail-in ballots. It's just crazy.
Oh, boy.
So, anyway, so much for all that. We'll take a banana break. We'll be right back. Kinetic banana break. That's the banana that explodes.
Indescribable, uncontainable. You place the stars in the sky and you know them by name.
Being in business is challenging. At Network in Action Southern Oregon, we're all about real connection and real growth. We value your time with once-a-month meetings and believe in transformational relationships rather than transactional ones. We have 3 groups in the Valley, a Christian group, a Medford group, and a Grants Pass group, all filled with amazing local professionals. Network in Action Southern Oregon, so much more than just networking. Find out more at sonetworking.com.
Your yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free, and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it
If you don't drive it, donate it. By supporting us, you'll get even more mileage out of it.
Thank you from the Dove TV.
Okay, let's check in with Chris Mitchell with CBN News and get the latest of the United States and Israel. Are they cooperating on certain things? Let's find out.
President Trump pushed back on Iran's demand for compensation by citing attacks the terror state has carried out over 5 decades.
We're going to ask for money for the damage they've done over a 50-year period. Whether you go SS Cole or whether you go all of the people that were so badly hurt, so badly wounded or killed, many thousands of people, and maybe damages for the 52,000 protesters over the last 4 months that were killed in Iran.
Iran also warned that the Strait of Hormuz would not be safe until the United States ends its naval blockade.
We have a blockade that's been infallible. It's a steel wall. And we let people in that we want to let in, and those people come in, and they've been coming in and they're going out. So it's actually open now. We do not let them go into Iran.
Meanwhile, the Washington Post is reporting the Secret Service created an elaborate deception to get President Trump safely out of Turkey after the NATO summit in June. Due to a credible assassination threat from Iran, the president switched planes, boarding Air Force One and then exiting through a catering truck before departing on a smaller U.S. Air Force aircraft. The U.S. is signaling that its military partnership with Israel is stronger than ever. Addressing a closed forum of senior Israeli officers, CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper declared the United States and Israel achieved the unimaginable together, and we have a high and enduring commitment to you. IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir called the relationship unprecedented and a strategic anchor as he warned Israel must remain ready for a rapid return to high-intensity warfare.
And Chris is joining us now with more. So, Chris, the U.S. and Israel are apparently ready to go back to fighting if necessary. But President Donald Trump is talking about reparations from Iran and the U.S. naval blockade. It sounds like he's making economic pressure on Iran the main focus right now. Does the U.S. Navy's success in blockading the Strait of Hormuz make it easier to hold off on more military strikes on Iran?
Very much so. It continues the economic pressure and doesn't allow that the oil from Karg Island, for example, which is Iran's main place to export its oil. So it keeps that under wraps, and so they can't have that the main source of funds that they've had for over ever since they started in 1979. So they also have sanctions that they're having. This is all part of economic fury by the U.S. Secretary Treasury Bassett that has been doing on Iran and its leaders. So it keeps that pressure on. This is probably what perhaps President Trump wants to do right now, keep the economic pressure on Iran, since they haven't used the military option just yet. They keep warning about that. But right now, it seems like the economic pressure is something that may implode the regime. However, many people also say that the regime will do anything it can to survive, even though it's putting great pressure and suffering on the people. Apparently, inflation, according to President Trump, is up maybe 309%. So there's a lot of suffering going on of the people of Iran, yet the regime is hanging on right now. And for many people, they're looking at the regime and saying, from the regime's point of view, that they actually feel like they're winning and that they can continue to survive. And by even surviving against the United States, in their point, is actually winning.
What more can you tell us about this assassination threat on President Trump as he was leaving the NATO summit in Turkey?
Well, obviously, there was a lot of deception going on by the Secret Service. He goes up into the plane. He goes on the other side of the plane, gets out on a catering truck, and then he goes to a smaller Air Force jet. Many people didn't even know until they got to London, actually, that they found out that the president wasn't on board the plane. This is just one more threat by Iran to kill President Trump, especially since 2020. And that's when General Soleimani was assassinated by the U.S., and he had been the head of the IRGC. So this is something that Iran continues to pledge is going to do. And obviously, they took this threat very, very seriously.
Trump's Board of Peace has recommended a 15-point plan for Gaza. We know that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is rejecting this. How significant is this?
Very significant, because after October 7th, Netanyahu and almost all Israelis, they want to make sure that Hamas is completely disarmed before there's any pullout by the IDF. In this new 15-point plan, it was sort of a phased withdrawal while Hamas disarms and Israel pulls out, and that's something that Benjamin Netanyahu said was not going to happen. So very significant. There's a difference of opinion, obviously, between President Trump's Board of Peace and Israel, but it seems like Netanyahu is going to stay and make sure that they make sure that Hamas does disarm.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. All right. Let's check out the weather with Kinetic Alfred.
Okay. Here's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with a high near 82 in Vancouver. Portland reaches 83, while Wilsonville and McMinnville warm into the mid-80s this afternoon. Through the Willamette Valley, mostly sunny conditions continue with Salem reaching 86. Albany and Corvallis both top out near 82, while Eugene also warms to 86 with a bright and warm afternoon across the valley. Sunshine holds in central Oregon with Bend and Sun River both reaching the upper 80s. Prineville climbs to 89 with patchy smoke, while Boise starts sunny before patchy smoke develops with highs near 96. Along the Oregon coast, mostly sunny skies bring a high of 72 in Coos Bay, while Port Orford stays mostly sunny near 68. Brookings becomes sunny near 60, and Crescent City is mostly sunny, windy, and near 67. Across southern Oregon, sunny skies continue for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland, with afternoon highs from 90 to 95. Klamath Falls reaches 91 with areas of smoke, and a warm, dry afternoon. Sunny and hot in Northern California with patchy smoke around Wairika and highs near 95. Redding reaches 100. Chico climbs to 97, while Fort Bragg starts with patchy fog before turning sunny. Around the Bay Area, fog gives way to sunny skies and 82 in Santa Rosa. Napa becomes sunny with a high near 79. San Francisco stays mostly sunny near 73. And San Jose starts sunny near 86. A coastal flood advisory remains in effect. For Central California, sunny and hot conditions continue with Sacramento near 94 and 95 in Stockton, Modesto. Fresno, Visalia reach 105, and Bakersfield 104 under an extreme heat warning. And that's a look at your Tuesday weather from Grange Co-op.
We are looking back today as she was considered one of the most beautiful women in the world, but she also had a brain that she used as an inventor, and she was definitely ahead of her time.
She was one of Hollywood's most glamorous actresses, but Hedy Lamarr was also an inventor who helped change the way the world communicates. On this day in 1942, Lamarr and composer George Antheil received a patent for a secret communication system that used frequency hopping to make radio-controlled torpedoes much harder for the enemy to jam or intercept. Eventually, the technology behind their invention became an important part of military communications and helped inspire technologies behind modern-day Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. And here's the astonishing part. Lamarr and Antheil never received a penny in royalties. Their patent expired in 1959, long before the wireless revolution took off. So the woman once called the world's most beautiful actress helped pioneer technology we use every day and made absolutely nothing from it.
Sitting on our desk here, we're logged in and everything. We used the Wi-Fi and a lot of it and Bluetooth. It all came from that system of alternating frequencies.
And Al Gore didn't change.
Al Gore had nothing to do with it either. How about that? Somebody better wake him up and tell him.
All right, we'll be right back. We're going to take a raspberry bomb break. We'll be right back.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon.
There may have never been another time in history when end times prophecy has been more aligned with the culture and circumstances of the world than it is today. I believe there are 10 phenomena we are witnessing today that were recorded centuries ago in Bible prophecy.
Join Dr. David Jeremiah in his series, Where Do We Go From Here? On the next episode of Turning Point, right here on this station.
Weekends on theDove TV. They travel across America to give an answer for questions, doubts, and challenges concerning faith.
The Gospels are historically reliable.
Their mission, present truth, faith, and help people find purpose.
Not based on blind faith.
Join them as they strive to make a lasting impact on lives and hearts for Christ.
They're either all wrong or one of them's right. I got to go to the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Don't miss Give Me an Answer, weekdays at 3 on theDove TV.
All right, welcome back. 10 minutes before the hour. And yesterday I had a PhD professor on from Ottawa, Canada, at the university. And she was a flaming feminist.
Okay.
And in teaching that, from that culture, that background, that belief system, she began to see something happening in her classroom with men to the point where she began to re-examine all of this. And now she's completely on the other side, speaking out against it. Wow. And it's feminization of men. It's making men angry. Men are put down. Men are stupid, et cetera, et cetera. And this is it's an agenda. It's more than just a problem with a couple people. It's an agenda. It's infiltrated the universities.
Sure.
Anyway, so the flip side of that is George Barna will tell you young men are investigating faith. They're now waking up saying, we've been lied to. What's this all really all about? Had Michael Tadlock on. He is the Portland Trailblazers chaplain. And we talked about the feminization of men. Has it failed in our culture? And here's what he had to say.
I do a lot of, we have more time on here, I talk about actually the spirit of that feminization. You know, some people refer to like the Jezebel spirit. As we, you look at the story in the Old Testament, and you really do see, and I could break down the feminist movement in a way that would maybe expose the lies of what we've been seeing in our culture, and what that wants to do, wants to demonize men. But God has a redemptive plan for our masculinity and for women too, but specifically we talk about men. I wrote a book called Vintage Masculinity as an example, and you can get that on Amazon, and it's a focus on a manifesto of discipleship for men. And interestingly enough, the president of Colorado Christian University, he got a hold of it. Someone gave it to him. He calls me up and he says, hey, we want every man on our campus. And they have about 1,000 men, young men on their campus. He said, we're going to make it required reading. We're going to do a men's conference, and we're going to be known as a Christian college that disciples these young men. And so I'm really excited to partner with them. But on the flip side of that, what's interesting is the number one question I've been asked by women, I've been a pastor for 30 years. The number one question I've been asked by women above any other question is, how can I get my husband to be a spiritual leader? And so two things are happening. As we disciple men, it's actually becoming a blessing to many women. And that's what, again, this president of Colorado Christian University, he said, these young women want to see a husband who loves Jesus, who's being shaped by him and passionate for him. So again, as we disciple men, It's like going upstream. You disciple men, and the trickle-down effect for them as husbands, fathers, who they are in the marketplace. You can change a society and culture when you disciple men.
There you go. It's working.
You know, it's interesting, too, because as I listen to him, I think of, and you help me with his last name, Dr. Tony Evans, who used to be the chaplain for the Dallas Cowboys. Right. And one of the guys that was under him was a flamboyant player, and he was a good player, was Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders went on, became a very successful college coach, and he had a Netflix series where they followed him around, and a lot of his faith comes out in his discussions with his players. And I look at that and I think, you know, how much influence did Dr. Tony Evans have on Deion Sanders? And then you think the same of him and what he's doing with the guys on the team that he is pastoring towards.
Well, he's working with the Trailblazers. We talked a lot about that, and what's happening, not only they're having Bible studies with Trailblazer, and nobody's forced to come, it's all volunteer. So the team members are coming and bringing their wives, and they're having a Bible study in the stands like 2 hours before a game or something like that. So there's something happening. There is what they call the silent revival that's happening in America. So we get tied up in the headlines. There's a lot of good going on out there. And the fact that young men are investigating faith, the question I have for those of us who've been in church for a long time, are we prepared to accept them?
Yeah,
they don't look like us, they don't talk like us, they don't dress like us, they don't think like us, but they want to know what we believe. Is it really true, and can they depend upon it?
Yeah. I like this. I got a text while that was going on, too. It's from our church, and we have a men's group, and it's called Metal Shop.
Metal Shop.
Yeah, and talking about the next gathering. So, yeah, men getting together, it's a good thing. Well,
I'm thinking of Walking Tall.
Yeah, exactly.
Walking Tall, Tom and everybody out there, taking those young men and mentoring them into some kind of, you know, they use various
That's a great program.
things to do to mentor these young men. All right, some good stuff. I got Michael Bustler coming up, John Veal. We got some good talking coming up here in a minute.
Yeah, well, here's a great story. A young guy has combined his knack for technology and his desire to help into really making a difference in a little girl's life.
A 13-year-old Utah boy could have spent his summer playing video games or hanging out with his friends. Instead, Zach Waters spent nearly 300 hours building something to make a little girl's life easier. Zach became fascinated with 3D printing and discovered a nonprofit called Make Good that uses technology to create assistive devices. So he designed and built a custom wheelchair for a 21-month-old girl. He gave it pink accents because that's her favorite color, added a removable tray and cup holder, and even included space for medical equipment. The chair can also adjust as she grows. Zach says the project combines his two favorite things, 3D printing and helping people. And his grandmother may have summed it up best. His age does not define his ability to make a difference, his character does. At just 13, Zach is already proving that sometimes the best way to use a talent is to use it for someone else.
Take the Dove wherever you go. Visit thedove.us today and download the Dove radio and TV app. It's an improved experience, designed with easy navigation to help you quickly find what you need. Visit thedove.us today.
The Salvation Army fleet of vehicles is critical to providing essential services in our community, from picking up food for our food pantry to taking kids to camp and youth programming. We rely on Kelly's Automotive to keep us on the road so we can continue to provide the needs of our community 365 days a year. We can't do that without our fleet of vehicles in Kelly's Automotive.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Leiser with Leiser Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
Watch the 700 Club every weekday.
We bring you compelling interviews with the information you need for better health, stronger finances, and a more abundant life. Every day you'll hear inspiring stories from right here at home and across the globe. We cover the issues that matter most to you and your family. For thoughtful analysis and insight into the news of the day from a biblical perspective.
Watch the 700 Club Tuesday morning at 11 on the Dove TV. Tackling the tough issues facing America and our nation's freedom. That's Sekolo on the Dove TV.
DAs around the country finding who they want to prosecute and then determining what crime they could charge them with.
You can't believe this is the country we're living in, that this is happening.
A bold half hour hosted by ACLJ's Jordan and Logan Sekolo, taking you inside the battle of constitutional and political freedom, discussing issues that matter to you and your family.
This is just not the right precedent we want to be setting, even if we don't like Donald Trump.
This is just all-out chaos, and that's what could happen very soon.
Watch Sekolo for issues that matter to you, addressing the problems of Christian rights in the workplace, school, the marketplace, and protecting human life.
I hope this doesn't have to go all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Be in the know with Sekolo. Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday only on the Dove TV. The world has a view, but God has the vision. With Alveda King and Women of Faith, Tuesday at 8:30 on the Dove TV.
Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. And, well, we're always the word that's out there is affordability. So one of the questions that pops up, how is this war in the Middle East impacting the world economy, let alone our own backyard, with gas prices going up and down? Well, perfect timing. Always an honor when I have Professor Michael Busler back with us today, public policy expert, Newsmax columnist now, and he's a professor at finance at Stockton University in New Jersey. He does have a website, muckrack.com/Michael Busler, and you can check out that with him. So, Professor Busler, how are you, buddy?
Very well, Perry. Thanks for having me. Always my pleasure to be here.
Well, you're the man. Hey, congratulations, Newsmax. I guess they watched the Dove and finally reached out to you, huh?
I figured that's how it happened, yeah.
Oh, gosh. Where do we start with this? One of these days I'll pass your class. How has this war impacted the world economy?
This war has fouled up everything. Look, as you know, I'm a strong Trump supporter, and I support virtually everything he does, except the way he's managed this war. Had this war not started, and I think President Trump was right to start the war, Iran was very close to getting some nuclear material that could have been used for a warhead, and they admitted that to us. Their intercontinental ballistic missiles, which they said couldn't go very far. We find out later that they could reach Europe easily, not that much further, and it would have got to the U.S. So I think Trump had to do something. When he did it, though, he struck very decisively, and within a few weeks, he wiped out Iran's army, wiped out their Navy, their Air Force, and their air defenses. So he had them at his mercy. In my opinion, he should have finished the job, and we should have gotten from them, and we still should get from them, an unconditional surrender. Not these negotiated terms where they want this and they're not going to do open and straight until they get all that. We can't have that. We needed an unconditional surrender. Now, he told us in February that the war would be over shortly. And he said the same thing in March, then April, then May, then June, then July, and now we're into August. He's saying it'll be over shortly. The problem is it's restricted the world's oil supply. When you restrict the supply of anything, the price goes up. Oil prices, although they fluctuated on different news events, they're significantly higher than they were, pushed the inflation rate up, although it's come down a little bit. It's still much higher than we'd like to see it. And it's starting to slow down economic growth. We need to get this over with as soon as possible. My last column in Newsweek yesterday said, Mr. President, end this Iran war now. So President Trump says, look, from a humanitarian standpoint, I don't want to blow up everything and kill hundreds of thousands of people. So I want to get a negotiated settlement. I'm the best negotiator. I can do this. The problem is the Iranian government is not a good faith negotiator. They'll drag negotiations out, finally come up with something, then literally within days, they'll try to change it or just break it. The problem is, normally when you're in a war, if you're defeating the other side is interested in the welfare of their people, so they'll surrender rather than be obliviated. Like in World War II, we dropped a couple atomic bombs. It was obvious to Japan we could wipe out their whole country. Their leadership cared about the people, so they surrendered. The Iranian leadership doesn't care about the people. So if you kill them, they don't care. They kill the people themselves. So if you're dealing with people like that, the only way to win is unconditional surrender. Now, that's a lot I said here. Your original question was how it's affecting the economy very negatively. Had it not happened, economic growth would be twice what it is now, and the inflation rate would be on its way down to the 2% point that we're shooting for. If we can get this war over quickly, you'll see oil prices drop and inflation come down. If we don't get it over quickly, then this affordability issue will linger into the midterms, and the Republicans could lose the House and or the Senate, and that will put Trump's agenda to a halt.
Okay, let me stick with this just for a moment. In that, certainly by now, the president realizes these people can't be trusted and you can't negotiate with them. Certainly he understands that. And I would imagine that he's getting that advice from a lot of people. I mean, even with the current going around plan with Hamas, and even Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says, no, I'm not going along with this. You can't trust these people. You can't negotiate with them. You're wasting your time. Okay, I get all that. And yet he still looks for some kind of a deal. I don't know if that is blind ignorance or if it's strategic in trying to push back a major conflict between now and midterm. Maybe you have a thought on that. But overall, couldn't you bring them to their knees, Iran to its knees, by continued financial restraint?
Absolutely. So continuing the blockade, all the sanctions, the Iranian economy is in trouble. Inflation is somewhere close to 100%. Their unemployment rate starting to go up. They don't have money. If we keep this blockade up, we can eventually, I would assume, have them quit. The problem is, I don't know if that's going to work with the Iranians, and I don't know how long eventually is. Suppose they drag this out a couple of months. You know, we can't feed our people. We can't pay our military. We don't have any energy. People are getting real upset. The Iranian regime, they just want to survive. They don't care if the people die. They just want to survive. So the answer is yes, I think you can bring them to their knees economically. Question is, how long will it take? And will the current regime still be able to survive? If they can survive, I'm worried, you know, Trump's got a lot of things happening, but he won't be president in a couple of years. Then will the Iranians break every agreement and try to go back to a more aggressive behavior? So, I'm not sure. So I really think we have to get this regime out.
So, Professor, at the end of the day, we're dealing with a death cult. If they're willing to kill their own people, they're willing to die for their cause. And in fact, in their thinking, dying for their cause is some kind of an advancement. theologically. Any remnants of them left is in itself dangerous. It would seem to me, with the intelligence of not only the United States, but the superior intelligence of Israel, we could take out the regime, but we're choosing not to. I wonder why.
Regime change is always messy because you're not sure. You have to put somebody else in there temporarily and to try to figure this whole thing out and get elections and get it right. It's tough. When Trump got Maduro in Venezuela, he could have had regime change, but he said, keep the current regime. We'll work with them. That is less disruptive than a complete regime change. Eventually, we'll have an election. In Iran, you can't work with these people. You need to get the regime out of there. I think, in my view, I remember when the Shah left and they came up with a new constitution, which I thought was great. And then they said, plus we're going to have a supreme leader that is kind of over all this. I thought, well, that's terrible. You just got the Shah out of there because you didn't want a supreme leader. Now you put a supreme leader in. This is not going to work. And of course, it didn't. So I think we've got to change this regime. President Trump doesn't like to see people killed. So he's trying to do this by, from a humanitarian standpoint, killing as few people as possible. The problem is you're in a war. Yeah. And when you're in a war, you can't fight for a tie. That's what happened in Vietnam. We didn't fight to win. We fought to a tie, and it was a disaster. You can't fight for a tie. You have to fight for a win.
Yeah.
And whatever it takes to win, you have to win. Listen to what the military leaders have said, and that's pretty much where I got this point of view.
All right. I want to come back to the economic part of this. You mentioned the inflation is not coming to the 2% that you'd like to see. It's been interrupted. With the new Fed chair, do you see interest rates staying the same, going up? What do you see?
So in the last meeting, there was some dissent in that I think 3 of the 12 voting members of the Board of Governors wanted to raise rates, and they didn't. So when they meet again, I forget if they meet in July or they meet again, I think in September. When they meet again, they're going to have to decide. Now, we got a weak jobs report. The number of jobs added to the economy last month was negative. So we actually lost jobs. And GDP growth, which was about 1.5% in the second quarter, we thought was going to be over 2%, 1.5% in the first quarter. We thought would be over 2% in the second quarter. Turned out to be much less than that, about 1.5%. So because the job market appears to be weakening, because there's not a lot of economic growth, I don't think they'll raise rates. If we can resolve this Iran issue and bring the price of oil down, that will bring the total inflation rate down. Then they'll be able to cut rates. I don't think they'll do it by September, but before the end of the year, they may be able to cut rates. We've got to get the price of energy down. It impacts the consumer price index directly. It counts 7%. Indirectly, it counts almost 30% because energy prices reflect what manufacturers are paying to buy energy and then make their products. So if we can get the oil price down, gasoline prices down, all energy prices down, I think the economy is really set to take off. If that happens and the inflation rate comes down, the Fed will start cutting interest rates.
Okay. How are you looking at, well, let me go back to one other quick question. It seems to me we're getting mixed signals. The market is at an all-time high. Consumer confidence is a big question mark of anxiety. And consumer debt's at an all-time high, and affordability is still a question. So we're getting mixed signals.
Yes. Yes.
You're the professor. How are you looking at it?
Here's the thing. The oil prices are high. the inflation rate went up, and when the inflation rate goes up, so it's about where your wage increases are, you're falling behind. When inflation is greater than your wage increases, which it was for a while, then you're really falling behind, and consumer confidence lacks, and that's why those numbers look poor. The stock market, the business community, investors in the stock market, they believe the economy is set to really take off. And when this Iran thing is over, the economy is really going to start to grow. Corporate profits are going to be up. And then when corporate profits are up, earnings per share go up. And that's why investors are willing to pay more for a share of stock now, because they believe strongly that the future, the near future, at least whenever this Iran it's over, the future will be more prosperous and lead to more profit. So I think they're right. Consumers are nervous, saying, "Hey, I can't afford this for gasoline. I just can't pay it. It's 30-40% more than I was paying for gas a year ago, and it's really putting a crimp in my budget." And as a result, consumer confidence is low. We also see a lot of data that the economy isn't growing, and we don't know how long this Iran conflict is going to go on. That erodes consumer confidence also. So again, I have to emphasize, we need to get this Iran conflict over quickly. Prosperity is right around the corner.
All right, let me take a quick break. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, check out the professor's website, muckrack.com/Michael Bustler. There's a picture of that landing page. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox, air is life. Make it perfect.
Once again, our very own Dove TV was recognized for excellence by the National Religious Broadcasters with the prestigious Station of the Year Award for 2026.
And this year's recipient of TV Station of the Year Award is theDove TV.
This makes 9 times the Dove has been honored by our peers with this celebrated national award. We're grateful, and another reason to stay encouraged and informed by watching and supporting theDove TV.
There may have never been another time in history when end times prophecy has been more aligned with the culture and circumstances of the world than it is today. I believe there are 10 phenomena we are witnessing today that were recorded centuries ago in Bible prophecy.
Join Dr. David Jeremiah in his series, Where Do We Go From Here? On the next episode of Turning Point, right here on this station.
Weekends on theDove TV.
Orthodox Christianity has existed for 2,000 years. Yet many people know very little about its history, its worship, or the ancient Christian faith it preserves. Hi, I'm Paulina Leiser. Join me each week as we explore the beauty and depth of this historic Christian tradition and its place in the modern world.
Don't miss The Ancient Church, conversations about Orthodox Christianity. Sundays at 6 p.m. on theDove TV.
Hi, welcome back. Always an honor to have with us Professor Michael Bustler's back with us, public policy expert. Now he's a Newsmax columnist, and he's a professor of finance at Stockton University there in New Jersey. I'm a perpetual student. Someday I will graduate. Someday I'll pass his class. Professor, just kind of curious. It appears that New York City is heading for insolvency. How serious is this socialism drive in America?
Well, if many of these democratic socialists are elected in the general election, it's a serious problem. They want to change everything that made America great. And I've talked on the show before how I believe The principles of individual freedom, individual responsibility, low rates of taxation, and a limited role for government are really what made this country great, from the birth of a nation to the largest economy in the world in about 150 years. Those four principles, coupled with private property and abundant resources. But those four principles are what made us great. These communists, everything they want to do is opposite to those four principles. Instead of encouraging individual freedom and the way it's supposed to be, as long as you don't infringe upon anybody else's basic rights, you can pretty much do what you want to do. Communists, they will dictate what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. You want them to control the healthcare system, they'll do that, but then they'll tell people who gets what, and they'll allocate the healthcare. People will lose freedom. Secondly, we've emphasized individual responsibility. As long as you're mentally and physically able to take care of yourself, everybody pretty much did. I mean, you had family, obviously, but everybody did. They want to replace individual responsibility with social responsibility. The government will take care of you cradle to grave. So again, opposite to individual responsibility. Thirdly, to pay for all this, they're going to have to raise taxes all over the place. And look at what Mondami's doing in New York City with all the taxes he's going to raise. Everywhere this is implemented, you have to pay for it. Taxes will have to go up. So instead of low rates of taxation, and with a low rate, look, whatever I worked hard to get, I'm going to keep most of it. Well, if you have high rates of taxation, whatever you work hard to get, you're not going to keep most of it. So you're going to lose the incentive to work harder. And fourthly, a limited role for government. I mean, government provides basic public goods, defense of the country, a legal system, leadership, etc. But other than that, historically, the government stayed out of the way of business and let the market go. So these communists are all against that. They want a large role for government, higher rates of taxation, social responsibility, and limits on individual freedom. It doesn't work. It's going to destroy the economy. We really have to stop this. Now, the question is, how do you really stop this? The way to stop this is to bring prosperity to the country. Once there's prosperity and there's opportunity for every well-qualified American, people will say, hey, I've got an opportunity to do just as well as everybody else is doing, so I don't have to let the government take care of me and the government buy things for me. I can be successful, earn my own income, and buy my own things. That's better for the economy, and it's better for me personally to have a sense of self-esteem that I paid for things. So we need to bring prosperity to the country so everybody has opportunity, and this talk of socialism will probably go away.
The mayor got shot down yesterday on his plan to tax wealthy residents that were only in the city part-time, so that didn't go anywhere. But to your point, if they don't have the revenue to support the socialization that they want, and you're carrying a massive debt, in fact, the debt of New York City is higher than the budget of Arkansas as a state. So I guess the question I have is, are they really heading for insolvency, and what could that mean?
Well, as Margaret Thatcher said, socialism works until you run out of somebody else's money. So when you run out of somebody else's money because you're taxing the heck out of people, and they're going to say, well, look, I like New York City, I have my job here, I lived here, but I can't afford to work for the city. And if you're taking all these taxes, I'm making good money, but the city's taking most of it. A lot of these people will then leave, and they've already started to leave. And when that happens, there won't be nearly enough revenue to provide grocery stores for everybody and healthcare for everybody and free buses for everybody. And then I don't know if it'll get to a bankruptcy point, but it'll get to a financial crisis. Typically what happens, I don't know how many years it'll take to get, but the next mayoral election will see someone who will be against what Mondami is doing, saying, hey, look, he tried this, it didn't work. Let's go back to Rudy Giuliani and Bloomberg, what they did in New York City, and we can make the city great. But by giving away a lot of stuff and expecting taxpayers to fund it, you're eventually going to run out of their money and the system's going to fail.
One other quick question. It looks like we had job losses last month. What is that telling you?
So the month before we had big jobs gains, mostly because we had this FIFA tournament and a lot of part-time people hired. The tournament got over and all those people left and all those people were laid off. So that's why the number of jobs were negative. In addition to that, the Trump administration is trying to pare down the employment in federal government. So every month there's job losses from people in government who have just been eliminated. I'm not real worried about the job numbers. Once the economy gets going again, the job numbers are going to improve. I was a little bit worried. Although we lost jobs, the unemployment rate went down. Well, how did that happen? 200 and some thousand people left the job market. So to be counted as unemployed, you have to be actively seeking work and not able to find it. So a large number of people just stopped looking for work. I'm not sure what they're doing, but there's a low percentage of adults in the workforce today, either working or looking for a job. We need to get more people back into the workforce. And again, I think providing opportunity for people is really the way to handle that. Opportunity is the key to long-term success.
Social Security and Medicare is heading to the wall. Do you have a...
Not good. Not good.
What do you think?
So Social Security, when it was put in 1935, people retired at 65. The life expectancy was 67, so you only collected for a few years. It's a pay-as-you-go system. So the people that are working pay in the Social Security. They take that money and they give it to the retirees. And then when the working people get to retire, the people that are working then will take care of their benefits. It makes sense as long as the population mix stays relatively constant. In other words, as long as we have 60% of the people working and 20% of the people collecting. Well, what's happening now, all the baby boomers are just about retired and they're living a lot longer. So now there's a lot of people collecting. Birth rates for the last really 10 or 12 years, 15 even, have been relatively low. So there's fewer number of people paying into it. The system can't stay solvent. So next question is, how do you fix it? There's only three choices. One, you raise taxes. So already people pay 6.2% of their wages. Your employer pays 6.2% for it. So that's 12.4% of your wages. I don't think you can raise that any higher. Democrats want to raise that to 15%, 7.5% and 7.5%. I don't like that idea. Secondly, second choice, you can cut the benefits. Just start paying people less money. Well, these people paid into the system their entire life. You promise them a benefit, you can't cut it. So that doesn't work. The third way to do this that will save it, and let me start by saying this is not a good solution. This is a problem where there are no good solutions. So we're looking for the solution that's the least bad. The least bad solution is to raise the retirement age at least to 70 and probably into the future 71 or 72. That'll keep more people working, fewer people collecting, and I think that will help save the system. It's extremely unpopular and it's not a good idea, but I think it's the least bad idea.
Interesting. How is the debt part of this problem?
$39 trillion in debt. We keep adding nearly $2 trillion a year. The interest expenses alone are approaching $1 trillion a year. You know, we have a $7 trillion government budget, which is huge, and 1/7 of that, whatever, 14% of that, is going for interest on the public debt, and that's $1 trillion that you can't use for better programs and to help people. We've got to get this debt down. Now, how do we do that? Very difficult. But I always say, if you're stuck in a deep hole, the first thing you want to do is to stop digging. So the first thing to do is to try to get the annual balance, budget balance, get the annual deficit down to zero. Once you do that, then you can start to tackle getting the deficit, the public debt down. Remember, in 1996, from 96 to 2000, we had a surplus in the budget. Why was that? President Clinton in the State of the Union address said, the era of it's exact words, the era of big government is over. So he started to cut government spending and keep some of this in line. Newt Gingrich worked with him to try to get to a balanced budget. And indeed, for 4 years, we had a slight surplus in the budget. We need to go back to that kind of thinking to get the budget balanced. Eventually, maybe get a surplus and we can start paying this debt down.
Well, I think we could start with doing away with continued resolutions and force a balanced budget amendment.
They don't even come up with a budget. I don't know when the last time they had a budget. Yeah. It's always a resolution. Let's get us through the next hurdle. Yeah. They just passed one. Now it'll get us to right after the election in December. But we're going to come back, or we're still going to have this problem. Congress was elected to manage government spending. You can't spend. The one thing I teach in all my finance classes, you can't continue to spend more money than you have. Yeah. It's that simple. So the U.S. government has to learn to do that, and then we can attack the public debt.
If I wrote that on an answer to your question on your class, would you give me an A on that one?
Oh, yeah. Thumbs up on that.
Professor, good to see you. Thank you for your time, friend. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, check out his muckrack.com/Michael Busler is the website where you can go and check out. And then look for his articles there in Newsmax as well. Good to see you, friend. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Perry. Always my pleasure. See you soon.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
The world has a view, but God has the vision. That's what sets a Vision TV show apart, seen on the Dove TV.
Welcome to The Vision, where the world has a view, but God has the vision.
The Vision is an inspirational talk show that elevates voices of faith through powerful conversations, highlighting changemakers making a difference.
My group, we are a collective of elder rights activists from across the nation.
Each episode blends heartfelt storytelling with practical insight.
To get up every day and just say, Lord, thank you. I'm here. If you woke me up today, you must have a purpose for me, and I think that's the thing.
Encouraging viewers to live with clarity, compassion, and vision.
We are looking for good things because this is the day that the Lord has made.
Join Alveda King and a panel of friends. The world has a view, but God has the vision. Tuesdays at 1:30 and 8:30 p.m. right here on the Dove TV.
Take the Dove TV wherever you go worldwide. We're seen live 24/7 and streaming on demand on all major platforms, including Roku, Apple, Google, and Fire TV. Plus, you can catch the Dove TV and radio online at the new theDove.us and the Dove's new mobile app. Download today. Bring powerful, God-centered content and news with you wherever you go. From the Dove, encouraging and informative.
Welcome back, and been looking forward to having our good friend Pastor John Veal back with us. So appreciate this man and his ministry. He's the senior pastor of the Enduring Faith Christian Center in Chicago. He's also the CEO of John Veal Ministries. He's a regular contributor to Charisma Magazine Online and the author of several books, including Supernaturally Prophetic and Supernaturally Delivered. Those are pretty powerful titles and words there. There's a picture on the screen. He does have a website, johnveal, VEAL.org, johnveal.org, and there's a picture of that landing page. Pastor John, good to see you, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, you too. Great to see you, Perry, as well.
Thanks for your
Doing
time.
well.
Thanks for your time. All right, here's the big question of the day. Are you sitting down? You ready?
Yes.
You're the man. Does God speak to people?
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. Years ago, I was writing the book Supernaturally Prophetic, and the Lord spoke to me during the writing of the book. He said, I'm talking to my people. They're just not listening. And I think that's the problem. God is always speaking, but are we always listening? And we need to be cognizant or aware of his voice. Like if someone you talk to all the time, if they call you, you don't need caller ID to know who's talking to you. You know it. You know them by their voices. So that's what we need to do with God. We need to listen more than we speak when we pray, so we get attuned and accustomed to his voice. So then we'll know when he's talking.
Okay, let's drill down on that a little bit. What's God's voice to you?
His voice is like it's like sometimes a quiet, still voice that you have to pay close attention to. Sometimes it can be loud. It depends on the situation. It depends on the urgency of the matter. I mean, there was one time that I heard the voice of God aloud, and I was in a situation where I could have lost my life. And the Lord spoke to me so loudly that it was almost irritating. And I tell people all the time that the voice, it sounded like a mother and a father speaking to you, but I knew inherently that it was a male voice, a very strong voice. And there are other times where God would speak to me spirit to spirit, because the scriptures tells us that God is a spirit, right? And so when he speaks to us, usually it's spirit to spirit. He speaks from his spirit to our spirit, and our spirit translates. So if a person has a British accent, God is going to sound like he has a British accent. And what's so amazing about it, he sounds just like us, because his spirit is speaking to our spirit, and our spirit is us, right? The true us. And it translates what he says. And that's why his voice, when you hear his voice, a lot of times it sounds just like you when you hear it internally.
Have you ever asked God to speak to you and he didn't?
Yeah, plenty of times. Sometimes you have to press in. You have to really press into the Lord to really hear what he's saying. Sometimes he can go quiet. I've asked God questions, and sometimes I get immediate response, but a lot of times I don't get immediate response. But I think that's when you continue to inquire. You continue to ask him and talk to him, and you know, because he is God. He is sovereign, right? So he's going to speak to us when he wants to speak to us. So, and sometimes he can speak to us through others. He may get a prophetic word that the Lord to answer to what you've been asking God. So it just depends. But there have been times that's happened, but there also have been times where he's spoken to me.
Okay, so help us to help people begin to recognize that still small voice, so to speak. In other words, we live busy lives, and God's trying to communicate to us. How can we categorize what we're hearing to know, to qualify it? It is God talking to us.
Mm-hmm. I think we just need, like I said earlier, we need to spend more time listening than talking. A lot of people, when they pray, they speak in tongues, they pray in tongues, they say a whole lot, but then they just get up and go about their day. We have to give God time, space, and opportunity to speak to us. Sometimes, if you notice in scripture, a lot of times when God spoke was during times of isolation. You know, Jesus used to go off to himself to pray to God, to talk to God, right? When he's fasting in the wilderness, he went off to himself. You know, he's attacked by the devil, because that's another thing. Sometimes the wrong voices can come into your life. They can kind of try to speak into your life. And that's the issue too. You have to be really cognizant of who's talking to you. You have to really know his voice. And if you know his voice, you can't be deceived by a foreign voice or the enemy's voice. So it's very, very important to know his voice above any other voice.
Is there a pattern that you've discovered in God speaking to you?
Yeah, I mean, basically, again, you know, I have to be in a place sometimes when it's very quiet, isolated. But sometimes when I'm prophesying to someone, I'm praying for someone, God will start to speak to me. Sometimes God will, like say I'm speaking somewhere and I'm doing prophetic ministry. God will sometimes ask me to call someone up, and I have no idea what he wants to say. It's nothing that he's told me ahead of time. But then when they get up there, he starts to speak to me, and all I do is repeat what the Lord is saying to them. So those have been times that he's done that. So we just have to trust him. And once we know his voice, we get attuned to his voice, we can speak on his behalf.
Have you been surprised when the Lord has spoken to you that it doesn't fit with what you want?
Yeah, it was one time I was the first one that got saved, between my wife and I. We had no kids at the time. And one time I was going to talk to her about salvation. I'm a leader to the Lord. And as soon as I got to the door, the Lord told me to shut up, be quiet, however you want to translate that. He said, let me handle this. And I listened, right? I didn't say anything else to her. And she got wonderfully saved just by, me living it in front of her, and God did it. So, yeah, that was the time he told me to be quiet. So sometimes when God speaks to you, it's not always what you want to hear, but when you know his voice, you need to obey his voice. And I'm thankful that I did.
How do you qualify what you're hearing with the word?
It lines up with the word of God. If you're hearing something and it goes against the word of God, that's probably not God, because the devil can easily imitate God. There were stories about a man that he heard a voice, told him to go to an edge of a roof, right? He was on top of a house, told him to go to the edge. He falls off the roof. He impales himself on a wrought iron fence. All the blood rushes out of his body. He literally dies. And he goes to heaven, sees God. This is what he says in his book. And, but that voice, he said, he thought it was God because it sounded so sweet. The devil's not going to come to you sounding like he sounds. He's not going to come out, doing all that stuff. He's not going to do that. He's going to try to fool you into believing he's God. Just like the snake in the garden in Genesis, the 3rd chapter. He spoke to Eve saying, didn't God say this? Didn't God, he will always use the truth to establish a lie. And that's how we all fail, based on the devil mimicking something or appealing to something within the flesh. And that's what we have to understand about God. God is not going to always appeal to our flesh. He's going to sometimes tell us stuff that makes us uncomfortable, but we've got to know his voice and know, hey, this is God. This is not the enemy. Because sometimes I've heard things and I say, I rebuke you, Satan, in the name of Jesus. And the Lord will say, no, it's me. It's me. I'm talking to you, because it was something so contrary to what I wanted to do. That's why we have to learn to kind of live by scriptures and align every word with the scripture. Then that way we can't go wrong.
Okay, so a lot of people really, truly, Pastor John, desire to hear from God. I would say the basis of their desperation is, God, speak to me. How would you prepare their heart to hear that still small voice?
I think it's important. What I used to do a lot, and I need to get back to doing that, before I would pray, I would read scripture, right? It gets me in the right mind frame, mindset. I think that's very, very important. Never to disregard the word of God, to read the word, to study the word of God, because it puts you in a place where when you hear God's voice, you know that it's lining up with scripture. And it's pretty powerful that sometimes God can speak to you through the scripture. My wife and I were looking at a home one time, this is years ago, and the home used to belong to the famous gangster Al Capone in Chicago, right? And so my wife really wanted the house, but it was totally gutted. There was only one room that was livable. So my wife wanted to live in that one room, and we just fix up the house. And I said, no, I think we'll live somewhere else and have it fixed up. But something in my spirit was saying that we should not get this house. So I was reading through the book of Luke, and there's one chapter that talks about a man building a tower, but not having enough money to finish, and then he was laughed to scorn. And so I said, well, I think God is talking to us. I think we really shouldn't get this house. And so my wife still wanted it. And so they wanted like $60,000 cash down. And we're like, no, we go through a mortgage company. And so the deal fell through. But my mother was the attorney for the seller. And so she called me after everything was over. She said, you better thank God you didn't buy that house. And I said, why? She's, well, I can't tell you because of attorney-client privilege, but you better thank God you didn't buy that house. And what I later found out is that they didn't really own the house. They went through and gutted the house looking for Al Capone's money and couldn't find it. So they didn't even own the house. So we gave them $60,000 and lost our money. But God spoke to me through the scripture. That's why it's so important to read the word of God, because that's the greatest arena or area to get prophecy. And you can also hear his voice through the scriptures.
All right, I want to take a break here, Pastor John, but when I come back, I want to get into, you wrote a book, Supernaturally Prophetic. This is a huge topic today, and it's misunderstood, as you well know, okay? But it also comes with immense responsibility. Immense responsibility. If you are going to give a prophetic word to somebody, you are now in judgment of that word. Okay? It has to be taken seriously, and I want to talk about that when we come back. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, he has 2 books out, Supernaturally Prophetic, Supernaturally Delivered. Where can they get those, Pastor John?
Any bookstore, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. They can mostly get it online, but anywhere books are sold, those books are available.
All right. His website is johnveal, veal.org. There's a picture of that landing page. We'll take a quick break. We'll come right back.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? When you want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life, call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In a world desperately seeking truth, Cliff Connectley and his son Stuart travel across the U.S. to give an answer for questions, doubts, and challenges concerning faith.
What is the evidence that Muhammad spoke the truth? What is the evidence that Jesus Christ spoke the truth?
Their mission is to ignite a passion for truth, guide individuals to embrace faith, and help people find purpose, engaging skeptics.
It kind of sounds like then that God punished us. The vast majority of chaos in nature is a direct result of God stepping back.
They're driven by a deep commitment for spreading the message of Christ to a world who needs it.
But you see, what Satan has done is he's put doubt in our mind.
Join them as they strive to make a lasting impact on lives and hearts, sharing the love of Jesus with an unwavering dedication.
Because God loves you, and God has given you gifts.
Watch Give Me an Answer, weekdays at 3 on the Dove TV.
Welcome back, and always an honor to have with us Pastor John Veal, Senior Pastor of the Enduring Faith Christian Center in Chicago. He's authored a couple of books, Supernaturally Prophetic and Supernaturally Delivered. These books are available online in bookstores, and he does have a website, johnveal, veal.org. Okay, I'm going to come back to this Supernaturally Prophetic. Are we getting along in the spirit right now, you and me?
I think so.
Okay. Just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. The subject of the prophetic or prophecy is big. It's as you well know that, and sometimes it's misused. But there are those times where you feel led to say something to somebody. I do. I don't know if I put it in the prophetic category. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm just trying to say you feel led to say something. And I wonder if we understand that comes with it immense responsibility, because we're dealing with people's lives.
Absolutely.
You know, you're almost in the field of a doctor giving a bad diagnosis if you're not careful here.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But you're dealing with a soul. Do you feel the weight of that when you feel like you've got to say something to somebody?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was thinking about the book of Corinthians when Paul was speaking about God. He in certain sections of this one chapter, it says, Paul says, this is me speaking. Other parts, he said, this is God speaking. So what I do, I make it a habit, and I train the prophets in our ministry and prophets that I train, anywhere. I always tell them to be careful saying, thus saith the Lord. Now, a lot of times people have misconstrued this. In the Old Testament, the prophets of God said, "Thus saith the Lord," because they wanted to distinguish on whose God's behalf they were speaking. Because you had the prophets of Baal, Asheroth, all these other false gods, and they would invoke their names in terms right before they prophesied. So a lot of people say that. And, what do you do when you're wrong? You said God said this and you're wrong. And I told a lot of people, I tell them all the time, you're going to stand before God and you may make it into heaven, but you're going to get a severe rebuke before, because God's going to say half the stuff you said, I didn't say. So what I do when I prophesy, I'll say, this is what I feel in my spirit. I could be wrong, but this is what I feel God is saying. But when I know God is saying, there are very few times, very rare times I say, well, I hear the Lord saying X, Y, Z, because we have to really be careful with that, because we've had so many misrepresentations of God by people that said God said something and it never happened. And what happens to those prophets, they get a bad reputation. And they're sometimes called false prophets because what they're saying is not true. My advice is, when you say something, when you're prophesying to someone, you better make sure that it's God. And sometimes don't give a quick word. Go and war over the prophetic word you're receiving, and then come back to the person and say, hey, this is what God is showing me about you. But some people are performance-based, where they just want to entertain everybody and be so deep about it. But I just say what God is saying. Sometimes he's saying a lot to people, and sometimes he's not saying much at all. And so I tell them in those times, just pray for the person if you're not hearing from God. So it's very, very, you're right. It's such a huge responsibility, and I take it very, very seriously.
Twice in my life, I've had somebody prophesy over me, and both times they were totally wrong.
Wow.
I rejected both of them. Mm-hmm. And had I listened to both of them, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Wow.
Okay, and I think you shared a story with us in times past where you rejected something that was said over you. Mm-hmm. So you can't reject something unless the true spirit is living inside of you.
Come on.
Is that right?
That's absolutely right. You don't want to see, sometimes people can use prophecy to speak curses over your life. Like someone told me that, okay, I don't see you getting a certain publishing deal. Like it's going to be small, it's going to be whatever. But I'd already talked to God prior to, and God said, well, your next season will be greater than your last. He's told me lightning would strike twice for me, but this time it would be even greater. And that's exactly what happened. But I had to reject that. Not that the person meant any harm, but some people just say things and they can miss God, right? But that's why it's so important to get before God before you see a prophet, before you receive a prophetic word, because 9 times out of 10, it's going to be confirmation of what God has already put in your spirit. So you did the right thing. You reject those words. You don't accept those words if it goes contrary to what God has already spoken in your heart.
What's supernaturally delivered? What are you trying to communicate there?
Just going through the deliverance supernaturally. There's some things that happen. You have stubborn demons. You have stubborn spirits that attach, that oppress. They possess. I mean, it's you have a different myriad of things, and sometimes certain things haven't worked for you. So in terms of being supernaturally delivered, it's a state. It's something that you have to do. You have to be in terms of getting totally free, because you can't get rid of a demon that you love. If you like the demon, and there are people that love their demons, unfortunately, and they don't go anywhere. And you can spend hours and hours and hours going through a deliverance session, and the demons never budge because they have access. I mean, I've heard that people say that I have demons through them say I have legal access to be here, or she wants me here. She doesn't want me to go. And so that's why it's important to be supernaturally delivered, because I believe that's when you have true deliverance. And in supernaturally delivered, I talk about going for the chief demon, the head demon, to get rid of all the other ones. Because what happens when you have the chief demon, because there's a hierarchy, government system within the demonic. So you go after the chief demon, the head demon, all the other demons will go with it, right? Because when you look at Jesus casting out Legion, he asked the demoniac, what's your name? He said, Legion, for we are many. So whenever you have one demon in someone, you got to understand they're more than one demon. They run in packs. So that's what happens. So when Jesus cast them out, they begged to be sent into the pigs, and they were sending animals, and they jumped over a cliff. So it was, and a legion is like 3,000 or 4,000 demons, and so those thousands of demons went into pigs and got out. But you have to go for the chief demon first. That's how you can get supernaturally delivered.
Well, that produces the biggest question of the day, and that is, can the demon and the Holy Spirit coexist?
This is what happens. No, I mean the demons can get into your flesh, but they can't own you if you're owned by the Holy Spirit. Because that's a big thing I talk about in the book. Because can a Christian have a demon? They can be, you can have, because I've seen so many people that were believers that were demonized. But again, the demons were in their flesh. See, what happens is sometimes when people get saved, they don't always get delivered, right, from everything. Like when you get saved, some things will just drop off you. Some other things will linger, like generational curses, sexual stuff, I mean, things will continue to be plagued by. So the demons can get into flesh, but they cannot own them. So I have done deliverance on people that were Christians. And I do believe a Christian can have a demon, but the demon can't have them, if that makes sense. They cannot own them. They can oppress them. They can do all these things, but they are owned by the Holy Spirit.
Don't we call that an addiction?
Yeah. And addictions have demonic origins. It's like when you get saved, there's some things, again, that drop off you and other things that you struggle with for years. And I wonder about that because you think about Paul when he said a messenger of Satan was sent to buffet or beat me, right? And he asked God to take it away. He asked him 3 times. And the third time, God said, my grace is sufficient for you. My strength is made perfect in weakness. So he allowed Paul to carry this thing throughout his life and would not take it away. Sometimes it keeps us humble. Sometimes it's ordained by God. Think about with Jesus when he came and he healed people. They had infirmity. One guy had an infirmity, I think, or someone had infirmity for like 40 years or 38 years. I mean,
we lose him. Okay. Well, let me do this. Come back here. Okay. I laugh at this, but this happens quite a bit here. Why would that happen now? Pretty amazing. Are we getting it back? Okay. Let me just say, I know these are delicate topics, and I know they're very controversial. He's also in a very stormy area, so that could be part of the problem. So we'll keep you posted. Anyway, the 2 books are called Supernaturally Prophetic is one of them, and the other one is Supernaturally Delivered. There's a picture of the cover of those books there on the screen. Like you said, they are available online, and you can go to his website, johnveal.org. So there's a picture of that landing page. So let me just say this. I don't know if we'll get him back. I think he's under a potential, is he the weather warning guy? Is that what he's dealing with? Okay. All right, so he's got a big storm going through the area. We get that every once in a while. So we may not get him back. But I realize that these topics are sensitive, and I realize they are controversial. My experiences are that I've been on interesting exposure to a lot of this in days gone by, and you look at it. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is sovereign. He can do what he wants to do. He can use people the way he wants to use people. And I would just say that for those who are really earnestly trying to hear the voice of God, and I think that if you're really honest with yourselves, all of us, at some point in our lives, maybe daily, you want to say, God, what are you saying? Talk to me about this issue. What do you want me to do? Speak to me. I think there's a couple things that I would carefully guide you through. One is, and I think Pastor John gave it to us, and that is that start reading the Word of God. You should be on a regular Bible reading schedule. We'll send you the devotional. This will help you. God can speak to you through this devotional. But somewhere along your journey on a daily basis, you should be into the Word. Read a proverb a day. You know, there's 31 of them. You can read a proverb a day. Read 4 or 5 Psalms a day, whatever it is. You'll find something in there to prepare your heart to hear God, kind of like in His language, if I can say that. He'll speak in the way that His Word confirms. So I would say if you really are seeking God's Word and you're desperate, or seeking God's voice and you're desperate, get into His Word. Spend time there. It will change you. In the meantime, that's why we publish this. And if you don't have this, free of charge. There's no strings attached. We'll send this to you. 248 million people read this little book last year worldwide. going all over the world. We'll love to send you a copy absolutely free. Just get a hold of us at theDove. We'll send one out to you. In fact, the new ones are coming out here this week. We'll get them out to you. All right. Thanks for being a part of today's program. We'll see you next time.
Take theDove wherever you go. Visit theDove.us today and download the Dove radio and TV app. It's an improved experience, designed with easy navigation to help you quickly find what you need. Visit theDove.us today.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world